This podcast is brought to you by the Arte Media Pantheon. Please head to artemedia.org to see lots of other podcasts from all of our great friends. As well as, if you would like to start your own podcast, they can provide you with all the tools and resources to do so there. So that's artemedia.org. A-R-E-T-E media.org. On with the show, Jordan.
Yes,
Welcome.
I will allow it.
Welcome to the Spur of the Moment podcast, everybody. Now with 100% more Justin. Embarrassingly, if you watched last week's stream, you could absolutely see the moment where I muted my own audio. So unfortunately, we lost in 1/4 of an episode because I was 1/4 of the people who were there. But this week you can hear me. On this week's show. Oh yeah, I'm Justin Spurr, by the way. I host this show. This is Spur of the Moment podcast, for those of you who don't know that for some reason. I'm joined, as always...
Hey, there could be new people who don't know that.
That is true. There could be. Hi, new people. Welcome. You're in for a treat. Because today is Jordan's special birthday episode, which means all the movies that happened this week happened because...
Jordan said so.
Because Jordan said so. So they're all movies that either Jordan chose to willfully punish me with for
your entertainment audience.
I don't know why.
And my own entertainment.
And so he chose just a slew of bad movies, and I've slotted in a few of my own choices in there that weren't bad to break up the bad. God, there are some bad movies this week. And the worst one is not what you're expecting. Jordan thinks he knows what I'm going to say is the worst one. It's not the one you're thinking. But in the meantime,
I gave you some real stinkers. There's a few that I believe could be at the top.
Gave me some stinkers. But in the meantime, we're going to do the news, which is Jordan Craven is failing so badly that the SPUMM is done. No more SPUMM.
SPUMM. Spider-Man.
I finally got it.
Spider-Man Universe movie.
I finally got it. See, Jordan, it took me so long to remember what that stupid acronym stood for that I fuck it up every single time. It's the Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel movies. SPUMM.
Oh. That's okay. Yeah, so you mean all the bad Sony movies?
All those bad Sony movies, Jordan. With the failure of Kraven the Hunter, it is officially, the party's over, Jordan. No more bad non-Spider-Man movies. And you want to know something that's gonna piss you off? And it's apparently doing very badly. I saw a thread that said, if you're gonna go watch Kraven the Hunter this weekend, to which I almost responded with, why?
Yeah, just don't. That would be the key. Just don't watch it.
I mean, apparently nobody is. But I will eventually watch it on streaming when I pirate it. I mean, not pirate it. When I legally obtain it through legal means. But when I watch it on streaming, like God intended. But no, here's what'll piss you off, Jordan. So, you know how we were under the impression that Sony couldn't use Spider-Man in those movies? Yeah, it turns out, big twist, they could use Spider-Man the whole time.
I mean, of course... Yeah, of course they could. They're the ones that have the rights to it.
They could have used the Tom Holland Spider-Man. They could use the.
They could have just straight. That makes it even worse.
Yeah, they could have.
Because I was like, they could have had, and this is where I was always like exasperated, because it was like they could absolutely just have a new Spider-Man.
Yeah, they absolutely
their own Spider-Man. Even if they didn't want to use Tom Holland, they could still have Spider-Man.
They could have straight up used the Tom Holland version.
That's aggravating.
Right? And the reason why they didn't was because the first Venom movie did well. So you want to blame anyone? Blame the people who went to watch... We were the people who went to watch Venom. The first one. Oh, no.
But that was more of a morbid fascination more than we thought it would be good.
I mean, yeah, but Sony, the lesson they learned was that audiences wanted Spider-Man villains with non-Spider-Man movies. I don't know why it took them so long subsequently to learn that wasn't the case, but that is apparently why. And once the multiverse was introduced, they felt it would be, quote, too confusing. Which is nah, man, people can handle the notion of multiple versions of one character. It's fine.
I mean, especially with Spider-Man.
Yeah, especially with Spider-Man. It's an antiquated idea.
There's been 3 different versions of him on the big screen alone.
Right?
What the fuck are they talking about?
So Jordan, There's another.
Get the fuck out of here with that
Right?
shit.
Disney has announced a new movie, Jordan, and I want you to say it at the same time with me after I say what the movie is. You're gonna know the word, and I want you to say it with me.
Live action.
Live action Tangled adaptation in the work, Jordan. 1, 2, 3. No.
Why?
No. Okay. You messed it up. You gotta do it. 1, 2, 3.
No.
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 Bad.
Bad. Stop it.
No biscuit. That's it. That's all I have to say about that.
At least do one that's like not recent.
Right.
Like you want to do like a photorealistic animal Robin Hood or Treasure Planet. I know I've said that before, but I'm gonna say it again. Treasure Planet.
Right.
Do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's it. That's all I had to say about that. Ryan Reynolds. Do you remember an update to a previous story we had? Remember how we talked about how Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and Sean Levy were going to team up for another movie? Well,
yes, I do recall.
And I said, I think it should be a musical. Well, you're never going to guess what the movie's called, Jordan.
Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman get their groove back?
No, it's called Boy Band.
Oh, I think I read about this, where they're former boy band members.
Yeah, they're former boy band members, and I'm like,
that
sounds really fun. Like that sounds really funny.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Right.
Like too old, out of date, like out of the game for a while. Boy band singers, yeah, that sounds fun.
I'm hoping they get some musical numbers in there. Like they actually get to sing some songs. Like I'm hoping that it's not just like one of those movies where they play that type of character, but they never actually sing. Like if we're gonna do this, if it's gonna be about boy bands. I want to see their like old numbers from when they were at the height of their popularity.
I mean, okay, so here's what I want. I want them singing. Okay, I get like one of the NSYNCs or the Backstreet Boys or something, and have them like sing when they're the younger versions, and like go do flashbacks with younger people or whatever, and then have Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as the grown up versions, then also sing those songs.
Yeah, that'd be funny. That'd be very funny. I'd be totally into that. I just want to see them work together again. I'm like, that sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time. That sounds enjoyable.
So, Jordan, they announced yesterday that there is a Malcolm in the Middle reboot coming to Disney Plus. But from what
I read that it was only 4 episodes.
I've heard different things about it. I heard that I heard that only the mom, Bryan Cranston, and Malcolm Muniz are in it, which I don't. Okay, what's the point? I don't understand how that's okay. What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, to me, at that point, it's that makes sense if what I read is true and it's only a 4-episode thing where it's like, okay, like it's mom and dad are coming to visit, grandpa and grandma are coming to visit for the weekend, and it's a 4 It's like the whole thing is just them visiting Malcolm,
right?
And it's a 4-episode thing,
and it's just a whole new cast. And then I guess. But I'm like, anytime, bring the whole cast back or don't bother. That's my whole thing.
I tend to agree with that. But from what I understand, the guy who plays Dewey hasn't been an actor since he was Dewey.
But
I think the same with Reese.
Yeah,
he also. So they probably got asked, and they probably just don't have an interest in doing it.
Or maybe they're gonna be in it, and they just haven't been announced yet. We don't really know anything about what this is gonna be beyond the fact
also true. Yeah, also possible.
But I'm like, oh man, enough of these 4-episode. Come on, do a full season. But I guess, hey, if that's the condition, we'll come back. But we're only doing a few episodes. Okay, fine.
Well,
I guess.
It could be a thing. I mean, it could be a thing where they were like, well, we'll come back for a few. But it could also be a thing where that's the trial run. Disney isn't sure if it's still popular enough to do a full show. So they're like, okay, well, we'll bring you back for 4. And then if that does well, then we'll do an entire rest of the season. Could be an example of that.
It could be. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Also, this isn't really news, but I just thought it was really funny. The reviews for that new Lion King movie have come out, and apparently it's really good. Like,
see, what I heard is the reviews from the people that like were given advance copies were mixed, which means that when it actually comes out and people aren't being paid to say nice things about it, it'll be far less
Yeah,
nice.
I don't.
That's what
Yeah,
I heard.
I mean, I've heard some exaggeratory like that. This doesn't where they're like it's the perfect prequel. I'm like, there's no such thing. Prequels are inherently bad. There's never been a good one.
Well,
There's
the problem with prequels is with any of your main characters, there's no risk,
there's
there's
no
no
risk.
threat
Nope.
or stakes
Nope.
because you know they
Mufasa.
make it into the next
Right,
one.
Mufasa can't die because he's got to fall off that cliff in the first one. So there's no drama, there's no stakes, there's no
Like the only way that a prequel is ever has stakes is if it's not really like if it's a reboot
right,
where it's like it doesn't lead into the events of the first one and history is changed.
right,
That's the only way that these things ever work.
or you introduce new characters. But even then, oh, the first character's got to get it's like. But to be fair, that has everything to do with the fact of how much stuff we watch. But still, I've never liked prequels. I've never thought there's a good one. No, I've heard this is I've heard this is good, which surprises me. No, it doesn't surprise me because we always said that when these Disney remakes did stuff that was different, then it was good. And so just to hear that an entire movie where it's something that's different, like they've never done a prequel to Lion King before, so it's all new territory. It's all new ideas.
It's one of those examples of when I saw it. I hate the animation, so that's always going to work against it for me. But story wise, ignoring the actual look of the thing, story wise, yeah, I mean, I always said the story of it is not uninteresting to me.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it can be the best. It's so you know how you feel about the Clone Wars TV show, where it's like it can be the greatest story in the world, but it still slides into Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, yeah,
Same with this.
yeah.
It can be the greatest story. It can be the best prequel in the world, but it still has to slide into that terrible photorealistic Lion King movie.
Yeah.
And it just that movie is garbage.
I can get past how much I don't much care for. Apparently, they're 1,000 times more emotive in this next one. Like apparently, it's slightly more cartoon. It's not straight going for photorealism, so it's less jarring. Yeah, from what it appears, Lin-Manuel Miranda carries movies. Like that just kind of seems to be what it is because like. Apparently, the big thing is his music in this is really good, and it just kind of sounds like it distracts away from the otherwise contradicting story. Maybe it doesn't contradict itself. Who's to say? Maybe somehow it doesn't manage to contradict itself.
To be fair, I'm prejudging it. Like I need
Right.
to. I reserve final judgment until after I watch it on Disney Plus.
Yep, that's pretty much. I have no
Like
desire to watch this in theaters.
3 years from now when it's on Disney Plus.
Right. Oh, what am I gonna watch? Am I gonna watch? Oh yeah. Speaking of which, next week, look forward to Sonic 3 review coming. We're gonna do that. Because when it comes down to it, am I gonna? So I had a friend message me and was like, "Oh, do you want to go watch the Lord of the Rings?" And I said, "Yes, it's quite a bit actually. I do want to watch that movie, but unfortunately, movies be an expensive activity, and if it's gonna come down to Sonic or Lord of the Rings, it's gonna be Sonic every time."
Whoa! Wait! You have friends other than me?
I have friends other than you. Yeah, they asked me if I wanted to go watch
Justin, you've broken the illusion of this show. Nobody believes that.
Nobody believes that I have friends. Well, they know we have friends outside of you. They've been on this podcast multiple times.
No.
More than once.
You're ruining the bit.
But yes, no, my money went.
That's not the reality of this show right now, Justin. It's whatever I say it is because I say so.
But no, when it comes down to Lion King or Sonic 3, it's gonna be.
I mean,
3.
it's gonna be Sonic 3.
It's gonna be Sonic 3.
Even with my aggravation of Gerald Robotnik's character assassination in that movie, it still looks like a fantastic movie.
It's gonna be Sonic 3. It's gonna be Sonic 3. Next story, Jordan. Next story. Chris Evans is apparently coming back. He's reportedly, I don't know if he's officially signed on, but so far as I know, he's signed on to be an Avengers Doomsday. And he may
saw that. Hate it.
I don't hate that one. Because I saw a theory, although I don't know what his role has been revealed as. It's like, okay. Well, what it might be is sort of less interesting to me. Apparently, he might be Nomad, which is the persona he took on after. There's a period in the comics where there's a version of him in Endgame, but there's a period in the comics where Captain America became disillusioned with America and took on a new superhero, and the government owned the identity of Captain America. That's where John Walker comes from. You know, the character from the Falcon
Oh
show.
yeah.
There was a period where Steve Rogers wasn't Captain America and he was a superhero called Nomad. And so there's a theory that he might be, or people are saying someone saying that he's going to be another version of Steve Rogers that's Nomad. But I heard another theory which was more interesting to me, which is that Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. is going to show up with his own evil Avengers, all played by like the original actors, which like I'm kind of interested in that. That to me is interesting, where you get like Captain America, Captain Hydra America or whatever, and yeah,
see on the one hand, yeah, kind of, but on the other hand, no, because then at that point he really is just an evil Iron Man.
I mean, sure, but yeah, it's all gonna depend. For whatever reason, when it's Chris Evans, it bothers me. I mean, I guess because I just assumed he would. It bothers me less.
It bothers you less if you're anything like me. The reason why Chris Evans coming back bothers you less is because he already did it as Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four. Like he's already come back for a thing,
right? Yeah.
So the idea of him coming back again is it's not like Robert Downey Jr. who swore he would never come back.
Plus, also like his character is just kind of with Tony Stark and Iron Man, he's dead, and his death was like the linchpin of the finale of the universe. So like having him come back just kind of unplugs it.
Undercuts it.
Whereas Captain America, his story is kind of unresolved.
Yeah, he's technically still alive. He's an old man somewhere, and nobody really knows what's up with him.
I think one of the shows, either Secret Wars or it might be the Falcon one. I think it implies that he eventually died of old age. But I don't think they've ever like straight up said it. I don't think they've ever out and out said exactly what's happened to him, because they want him in limbo so they can use him if they want to.
Yeah.
Jordan, they're making a new... Oh, you know what we have to talk about? Because I just thought it was a weird, funny coincidence.
What do we have to talk about?
They announced that they're making a new Chitty Chitty Bang Bang movie. And I just thought the timing of the announcement was really funny, because we talked about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang last week. It's gonna be made for Amazon, which makes sense, and it's produced by Barbara Broccoli, I think like the the granddaughter or whatever. It's the family who produced the original movie.
So is it a remake?
It looks like
or a sequel?
Looks like it's a remake.
Okay, a remake makes more sense to me, because I'm like, it can't be a sequel. None of the people that were in the original are like able to be in this one.
You theoretically could include Jimmy Stewart, Dick Van Dyke. You could theoretically have him be.
I mean, that's bold of you to assume that he would survive long enough for it to be made.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's still going strong. So.
Yeah, but he himself says that he expects to die any day.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough then. Yeah, they want to do a
all right, something like that. I remember reading a thing where he's like, "Yeah, I could die any day."
They're doing a new reimagined version for Amazon, Amazon MGM Studios, which is the original company that made the original, and produced with Barbara Broccoli, who is the family. They're the family who produced the original. So
I mean, cool. That's cool. I like that movie. It's kind of exciting to see a fresh take on it.
I would.
There's aspects of it which I would change and maybe
is the child catcher gonna make it to the remake?
Yeah, that's a question, isn't it?
I suspect so. Well, but my thing is, so much of that movie is of its time. It's such a specific time capsule of the 1960s in the sense that, like, yes, it was very much play. We didn't really talk about this much last week, and you didn't hear it if we did. But that movie very much plays on, like, 1960s post-World War II, we still hate the Germans kind of ideas that just don't exist anymore, really.
I believe the movie was made in the 60s, but I believe the time period place that it takes place is actually like the 30s.
Yeah, but I just mean in terms of
So
its filmmaking is what I mean.
yeah, it could be. I mean, it'll probably still take place in oldie
You
times.
think?
Maybe they might do a thing where instead of it being in the 30s, now it's in the 60s as an homage to the fact that it was made in the
Maybe because
60s.
my thing is like, what do you do for like Chitty Chitty Bang Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? The thing that makes that car so marvelous is, yeah, you're right. That takes place in an era where like, he's cranking the car to start it, or like the
Yeah,
car can just go into a lake and be fine. Like so many, the
yeah.
car goes into the lake so
So
many
like
times that it's just fine.
so like to me,
I don't know
you
how
you
you do
can't
a modern
you
version of
can't
that.
you can't take it out of that time period. The
I
modern sense of it would be like the CGI that they could do, or the special effects. Like the car would be far more
yeah.
capable of doing fantastical
But
things.
that movie's
But
so whimsical. Like I don't know how you do a modern version of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Just genuinely, that movie's so steeped in its time period of when it takes place and when it came out, as well
yeah,
as I just don't. Does Bulgaria work in 2025, 2026 when this movie eventually does come out?
yeah, I'll
And
be fascinated. I'll
and
be
like
fascinated to see the adaptational changes that happen with this
and
one.
that's not even forgetting the fact that modern audiences just wouldn't tolerate the fact. Can you imagine the drudging this movie would get by being like, well, the back half of the movie doesn't happen.
Right? And then there's a lot of the like me old bamboo, that kind of carnival slash festival
Doesn't
doesn't really
really exist
exist
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah, and I'm
And so
like,
that's where
do we cut
it's
it
like
down? Like, I think Chitty Bang Bang is entirely too long. But how do you how that's my
and that's
fascinating.
where I say like I imagine the movie itself, the time period, it still has to be an old timey time.
Yeah,
Like it has to be. But the filmmaking techniques, I'm sure they'll will be different.
I guess.
I don't know. And I don't know. I have no idea. On my bingo card, I never would have
I
put.
never would have paid. Yeah, I never. It's just a weird. It popped up on my news feed, and I was like, "What the fuck? Why a Chitty
What
Chitty Bang Bang remake? Of
what the
all
fuckity
things,
fuck?
of all things. Oh yeah, speaking of Lion King, just go back to Lion King really quick. It's funny. I think Haley mentioned last week, that she wanted I think it was Haley wanted a Lion King 1.5. Them to do a live action Lion King 1.5. Her
Yeah, I believe that was
and
her.
Lin Manuel Miranda share that opinion because he
Well,
also
then
likes.
then it has a good chance.
Okay, he would also like to do a Lion King. I would like to do a Lion King 1.5, but I just not with Seth Rogen. Although they don't really sing songs in that. What he said was that he wants to do a version of it. I don't think he wants to do a straight adaptation. And I'm like, that's so much that movie is Timon and Pumbaa doing a Mystery Science Theater gag, that I'm just like the gag where they're do you not know what Mystery Science Theater is?
I know the name. I've never
It's
watched it. I'm surprised you have.
I've never watched the full one, but it's the thing where you see they're watching a movie and you see them in the theater. You know that bit in Lion King 1.5. You know when they're watching the movie.
The framing device.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's basically how Mystery Science Theater 3000 works. It's just like 5 or 6
Oh,
guys just watching bad movies.
reacting to it's
Yeah,
a React channel.
it's kind of a reaction. It's like the earliest version of that. Yeah, before it became a thing on the internet, sort of. But they also do jokes and like. Are you familiar with riff tracks?
Not by
No,
name.
not by name. No, okay, no. But yeah, I don't know how that movie is so meta. I don't know how you do that as live action, and also I wouldn't want it with Seth Rogen. I don't have an issue with Billy Eichner. It's Seth Rogen I don't like. Seriously, why would you cast someone who can't sing in a song that requires him to do a deep baritone note at the end of it?
That's a good question.
It's one of the many things
That's it.
that's one of the many things that bothers me about that movie. Um, sorry, my stupid thing. So, Jordan, we have new details. Yeah, I really should have organized these better. They're just kind of sporadic. I'm just kind of jumping all over. I really should have done all the Marvel stories together. But apparently, new details about Spider-Man 4 have been revealed. And
Spider-Man 4. Spider-Man 4, the Tom Holland one?
The Tom Holland one, yeah. Apparently, during the interview, blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Sorry, I'm skipping through this. Oh yeah, so
What has Tom Holland let slip this time?
it's not Tom Holland, it's Amy Pascal, one of the producers. In response, she detailed how they intended to take the story going forward. Quote, "We have to deal with the fact that he decided he was going to give up being Peter Parker and he was going to focus on being Spider-Man because being Peter Parker was too hard. So that's what the movie is about." To which my response to that is, good. That is the correct direction to take the story.
I mean, he didn't really give up on being Peter Parker.
He absolutely gave up on being Peter Parker.
I mean, only insofar. The only reason he did was because if he didn't, all of the multiverse was coming there to kill him. He didn't. To me, giving up on Peter Parker implied that he didn't want to live his life. He wanted to live his life. He just was stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. Well, in the script, it literally says the bit at the end when he steps out and he's got the mask on. It literally says in the script something to the effect of how he's let go of Peter Parker and he's become Spider-Man or full time or something to that effect. I'll show it to you later, but it does align with that. That's where but that's good because I mean, we all know what I want out of the Spider-Man.
I just from a storytelling standpoint, I wouldn't interpret what they did that way, but okay.
That's what I want. See, that's we all know my version of Spider-Man 4 is he never takes off the mask and he's always Spider-Man. Look, I get that's not going to happen, but my idealized version of it that would actually happen would be that, yeah, he's barely Peter Parker. Peter Parker is only services us so much as he does off-camera Peter Parker stuff, and it's predominantly him as Spider-Man. That's it. No love interest. We don't introduce a new love interest. None of that. There's no new romance. We don't bring back Mary Jane. We at best introduce a fun new comedic relief side character. That's it. That's all.
I mean, you're never gonna get that.
It sounds like
there's always gonna be some Peter Parker.
It sounds like I'm gonna get a variation of that though. It sounds like I'm gonna get something of what I want. Yeah, last movie for now.
Or I should say, in the past they always learn that lesson. But maybe after the success of Deadpool and how they've seen how well Deadpool can emote without taking the mask off, maybe they will learn that lesson.
Maybe.
Who's to say?
Maybe. Also, I saw an interview. Speaking of Spider-Man, I saw an interview between
Ryan Reynolds and Andrew Garfield,
which was phenomenal. It was really good. Like they seem to. I love watching those celebrity interviews where you can tell they're genuinely a fan of each other. Like his Andrew Garfield's like genuine joy from hearing how much Ryan Reynolds enjoys his stuff was very funny. But Ryan Reynolds said something interesting.
I didn't watch the entire thing, but I saw bits and pieces of it. I saw the part where they talk about their kiss.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's funny. That's a funny thing. Yeah.
But no, yeah. I think I like Ryan Reynolds because Ryan Reynolds is on the same page as I am about Deadpool, which is that he's like, if Deadpool were around too much, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said if Deadpool were around too much, he would be annoying. He would be too much. He says as he doesn't know what else to do with him as a main character. And he says that he sees them as a side character, as like a character who shows up in other people's stuff, which I fully fucking agree with. Like that, I could not agree with that more.
Yeah,
we don't need Deadpool 5.
Once you have him fully established, which at this point he is, he's fully established. He's absolutely a thing that can just cameo.
Yeah,
he can be the guy that you throw Ryan Reynolds like $1,000 to show up at the end credit scenes of Spider-Man and be like, yeah, there's no end credit scene, go home.
Right, like he would. Well, I saw he did a video where it was him and his kid as Kidpool, and I'm like, yeah, he just loved putting on the costume and doing silly little. Like I'm sure he would show up for a day to be Deadpool. Like I'm sure he would. I completely agree. Or like have him be the the point I was going to get to is it kind of sounds like he loves Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and we've talked about a Spider-Man Deadpool movie before. Andrew Garfield, Ryan Reynolds, Spider-Man Deadpool.
I mean, I'd be fucking down. That'd be great.
That would be an awesome movie. A harder PG-13. Like I want to see Deadpool restrained in a PG movie. I've said that before, but I think Andrew Garfield has a bit more edge than the Tom Holland one does. And then then they could just do a fun, inoffensive, like there's no. It's just like they fight criminals. Like there's no big world-ending stakes or threat or whatever.
I would do it where it's PG-13 or whatever. They get the one fuck, and
Spider-Man says it.
and Spider-Man says it. Yeah, like there's a scene I can picture it in my mind where it's like I don't know what big bad guy they're up against. Something really bad that involves them teaming up. And I can see a scene where Andrew Garfield pulls Justin, look at me, where he's pulls his mask off and like as it comes off and you see his face, he's just like, fuck. And then Dreadpool is like, man, you stole my word.
That's
I only
funny.
get one of those.
That would be very funny. So Jordan, I shared this trailer for you. We have to watch this. This is a spur of the moment assignment for the audience. When this movie comes to theaters, go to theaters and watch it. Unless you're not into Looney Tunes. If you're not into Looney Tunes, like Jake isn't into Looney Tunes, but go watch the Looney Tunes the day the Earth blew up. We're gonna go watch it just for the sake of animation. Show Warner Brothers that this is viable. Like, it looks really fun. It looks really funny. It looks like a classic Looney Tunes cartoon. Like, Eric Bauza is doing a phenomenal job as Daffy. I really like his Daffy Duck. I don't like his bugs so much. I'm not a fan of his bugs, but
Wait, Bugs isn't in this one.
no. I'm just saying generally as his performance as these Looney Tunes characters. I don't. He's the new guy. Eric Bauza is the new guy. He's the current voice of. Yeah.
Interesting. He sounds like Daffy.
He does. He's pretty good. His Daffy is really good. He's the one who he did Bugs in the Space Jam 2 Bad Space Jam.
I don't think I like that one.
I'm not a fan of it. But to be fair, my favorite Bugs Bunny is honestly. I mean, I love Mel Blanc. Don't get me wrong. He's the OG. You cannot disrespect Mel Blanc. He's one of the greatest voice actors of all time. But my favorite Bugs Bunny is Billy West.
That's fair.
You don't know which Bugs Bunny he is, do you?
I can't tell them apart. They all sound the same to me. They just sound like Bugs Bunny.
I mean, hey, that's good. But no, my favorite Bugs Bunny is Billy West.
It's not like Kermit the Frog where it's like, okay, no, that one I notice when that one's different. The current one is not Kermit the Frog.
I absolutely with Bugs in particular, I notice Daffy's a bit different because he's got that slur. He's harder to.
Justin, it's not a slur. It's a lisp.
Lisp.
He's got a lisp.
He's got the speech impediment. He's a
speech impediment.
With Bugs, it depends on what you have him saying. But yeah, I really noticed. But to be fair, I noticed Mickey. I noticed that Mickey sounds different.
Mickey, I can depending on the voice, but he's usually pretty good. Kermit's just got such a distinct voice.
Right, you can tell. And to be fair, it's not helped by the fact that the guy who took over from Jim tried to replicate Jim and didn't try to, like, some of the other characters, everyone's kind of sort of interpret, like Big Bird doesn't quite sound right anymore, but he's close enough.
Yeah, or Elmo.
Elmo's another example of Elmo doesn't sound quite right to me. My ears tweaked it to him, but that was an unfortunate situation with
like Elmo. They all sound similar enough that like my earwig can get past it. Kermit, I can't. Yeah. He's not Kermit.
But I mean he's getting better. It's getting better. It's not great, but I've seen better in
the last one that I saw. The last one that I saw that had Kermit, where it was like it was when it was Kermit, the one from Fraggle Rock, and I think it was Oscar the Grouch.
Oh yeah.
And they all did a video together, wishing Jim a happy birthday.
Yeah.
And Kermit just sounded wrong.
He sounded way worse when he first started. He sounded like Constantine from Muppets Most Wanted. It's getting better.
He still sounded like Constantine trying to do a Kermit impression.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's getting better, but it's not as good as Steve Whitmire. Steve Whitmire was way better in my opinion. But yeah, my favorite version of Bugs is from Space Jam, for the first Space Jam movie. That's my favorite version of Bugs. And that was Billy West.
That's fair. What sort of Mickey Mouse run an organization they got around here?
Right? That's my favorite version of Bugs. Although, again, it's hard not to love Mel Blanc. But yes, we're gonna watch that movie. We're gonna do a big old review of it when it comes out in the new year.
Yeah, we have to show studios that 2D animation is still viable and that people still want it.
And maybe if this movie makes enough money, they'll put out that
Wile E. Coyote movie.
That Wile E. Coyote movie that everyone wants to see. I included this one news piece, not really because it's news, because it's not news. They interviewed one of the actors.
What do we constitute as news,
Well, he
anyways?
says the guy who played one of the voice actors from Beyond the Spider-Verse, he basically was asked when that movie's coming out, to which he responded he doesn't know. So it's like not really
That's
news.
a that's a bad sign.
The part of it that kind of surprised me was I didn't realize this is a spoiler for the end of Spider-Verse, but the version of Miles that appears at the end, that's the Predator. It's not the same voice actor. It's a different voice actor.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, huh,
Huh.
really?
Interesting.
Jordan, you played Cyberpunk 2077, right?
Uh, Small amount of it. I played it when it first came out, and it was buggy as hell, and I never went back to it.
Fair enough, because apparently Idris Elba wants to make a movie about it with Keanu Reeves, and I'm like, was Idris Elba in that game?
That I don't know, but I know Keanu Reeves is.
Keanu Reeves is that I know. And then finally,
I got to the point where you meet him, his character.
oh, Keanu Reeves, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, I've never played it either. So
I
Jordan,
never beat it
finally, Jim. Speaking of Sonic,
because it was like it was buggy. So it was like you would be running along and the game would crash on you, and it kept crashing, and I got frustrated by how much it kept crashing, and I was like, I'll come back to this when they patch this and this game gets better, which they have apparently done.
Yeah, apparently
And
it's quite good.
I've never gone back to it for whatever reason.
So, oh, one more news story, which is that Jim Carrey is currently promoting Sonic 3, so he's doing a bunch of interviews. I feel like a real ass because we have our famous video, "What Happened to You Used to Be." Jim Carrey used to be cool, in which we called him a massive douche, and he's making us look like absolute asses by just having an absolute blast promoting Sonic 3. He's just having so much fun. It's
I want to note that in that video it was mostly you who was ripping into him.
No, you called him an old ass who can't have any fun, so you don't get to shelter yourself from this.
I said mostly, but I sent you they
yeah, they did a bunch of movie posters that are I know I've seen those. They're the bunch of really fun. Yeah, the marketing team for I mean there's a bunch of them where it's for the second one they recreated the poster from the Sega Genesis cover.
Yeah,
and for the third one
yeah.
they did the same thing for the third one, but instead of Knuckles hiding in the bush, it's Shadow.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
really
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I haven't seen that one.
He's having a ton of fun. He's having a great deal of fun, and you do occasionally see some of that Jim Carrey weirdness pop up, but he is like, it comes across like he's actively trying to like bury it or like play like he's trying to be classic Jim Carrey for this. I don't know why, but like yeah, his interviews are like they're fun and wistful, and like he's actually like reminiscing about characters he likes and parts he liked and movies he's done, and for the first time he's like willing to come back to a sequel. So he wants to do, or he's open to doing a sequel to The Mask, which boo no. Don't do a way too late sequel to The Mask. I stand by that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I know people think they want that. You don't want that. It'll be bad. And then he's willing to do the Grinch again, but only if it's a CGI motion capture character. Which, like, okay. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm kind of into CGI motion capture. Grinch has to do a Christmas party. It's the sequel to The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. That'd be kind of fun. But no, my pitch is always do an animated movie, and it's the Grinch. Grinch is the Cat in the Hat, and you bring back Mike Myers.
I was gonna say the only way I want them to do him to come back to it is if they're doing that.
That I would let Illumination make it. Like have it be really lighthearted, not like super inoffensive. Like he's just pulling pranks, and yeah, let him improv in the booth. Jim Carrey likes voice acting; it's nice and easy for him. No makeup involved.
But I also kind of just don't. Those two versions of the character, I don't see Mike Myers' version of Cat in the Hat with Jim Carrey's version of the Grinch.
I absolutely see that they're both equally unhinged, and they would absolutely work together. Like they're just that kind of weird. But it would have to be a thing of like well, it would have to be a thing of like it's like almost like a prank war almost. Like again, it has to be real, like child friendly is how I would put it. But then one could argue that maybe wouldn't work for that. The Jim Carrey Grinch needs a bit of darkness. I don't know, but that's my one.
Well,
That's my
that's
pitch.
that's kind of my point. That's what I was trying to say.
That would be my pitch to Jim Carrey. Is like maybe don't do a live action with a CGI monstrosity. Which is what that kind of sounds like it's implying.
Oh, yeah, and this goes back to my opinion on all these live action remakes, where it's like, why is just animation not good enough anymore?
Right?
Like, animation's fine. You can just have it be an animation. That's fun. That's cute. Like,
it's fun.
Keep it simple.
It's very fun. That's it. That's
sometimes you just gotta look at your situation. You gotta kiss it. You gotta keep it simple. Stupid.
Keep it simple. Stupid. Kiss it right in the face. That's it, Jordan. That's the news. I'm milking those cows, Jordan.
That's it.
Today's episode.
Justin, that last one was milking something different.
This episode is brought to you by. I'm pretty sure you can still vote for us. I'm almost entirely positive you can still. It's brought to you by the Artie Awards, the annual Artie Awards. I realized I forgot to put the link to the Artie Awards. I'll do that afterwards. But go vote for us in the Artie Awards. We are nominated in every category, and in the one category we are not nominated in, vote for our friend Haley.
Yeah. Part of your Broadway world.
We're campaigning. No, vote for whoever you think is the best. Is what Jake would want.
Which is us.
Which is either us or part of your Broadway world. Or
you have to remain neutral. I'm gonna push us. I'm gonna vote for us. Vote us. Vote down ballot. Spur of the moment.
Down ballot. Spur of the moment.
Vote us. Or if you can't vote for spur of the moment and you see his face, vote for him.
Vote for me.
Do it now.
But last week, speaking of sponsorship, we're also slightly sponsoring ourselves. Last week was our 1-year anniversary, and yes, I fucked it up. One of the things I was going to do is I have crafted a theme song for us, and I am going to play it. It's not finished.
So what you're saying is it's a birthday present to me.
It's a birthday present to Jordan. We get to sit here and watch our new theme song, which is not finished yet. It's not going to be up for a little bit. Jake has to come and help me out, help me smooth its edges. But I really like the song. I think it's really cute. You're gonna see OBS because I really don't want to fuck this up. So hopefully we don't have to reset this and do this twice. This is an experiment. Let's try this. Here we go, everybody. Here we go.
Sunday morning, sun shines bright. 11 a.m. it feels just right. Justin, Spurr, and Jordan too. They got the talks just for you. Movies old and movies new. Pop culture trends, they pull you through. Got your ear till the end. Feels like talking to a friend. Spur out the morning at 11. Feels like pop culture heaven. Tune in when Sunday arrives. Feel the podcast come alive.
Stop it. Okay, that's
on a black screen.
We'll be back. We'll be back in a minute. Hopefully we'll be back. We should be back. We should be back on us. And I don't know.
Did you unmute the mics?
We're about to find out. It should switch back over. I don't know why it's not.
Currently, we're on the infinity screen.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Now you're gonna have to listen to us talk about it for 5 minutes on the stream because the delay.
Are you gonna check the audio? Did you check the audio? Are we good?
We're good.
Good. Because I really don't want to repeat. But that was the theme song.
That's our new theme song. We actually played it. It worked. We might close the show out with that as well because I'm just so darn proud of that little theme song. It's missing things like graphics and credits and all sorts of stuff on top of it that will be added in later. But that's the song. There's a full version of the song if you would like to hear it. I can either send it to you or we can play it on the show in its entirety as a reward for a certain amount. You know, let's say 100 subscribers.
For 100 subscribers.
100 subscribers, we will put out the full version of our theme song. So yeah, look forward to that. That is going to open the show soon.
And for 5 million subscribers, Justin will start a Patreon where he makes cookies.
I will 5 million subscribers, I will make cookies on Patreon. I mean, they'll be bad cookies because I'm a terrible baker, but I will do it. But you have to get us to 100 subscribers, and we'll listen to the full version of the theme song. And it's good. It's fun. It's a fun song. Anyway, that's the sponsorship section of the show. I hope you enjoyed the theme song. Let's move on with the show, Jordan. This week on the show, it's Jordan's birthday on the 18th. Okay, it's not actually today, but we had to redo the birthday episode. Oh my God, we have a special guest coming in. No, I'm kidding. There's no special. There's no special guest. Jordan's birthday gift this year was that he was allowed to pick whatever he wanted for everybody.
Which I did.
Which he did. So today's episode's theme is... Jordan, say the theme.
Because Jordan said so.
Because Jordan said so. But because Jordan got to say so, I get to go first.
Okay.
That's
because I say so, I will allow it.
I have to maintain a certain level of control here. It's still my show. So my first my first rapid fire. So last week, I watched and started listening to the book Ready Player One, and we were going to talk about it for our anniversary because Jordan did Ready Player One in our video game episode.
Yes.
Video game episode.
Believe so.
So I listened to the book, and how to do this? Okay. The audio of the I'm listening to the audio book. So I will say this. Perhaps a lot of my issues with this stem from how it's narrated by Will Wheaton, and a lot of my issues from this stem from how Will Wheaton reads it. There's an exceptionally funny moment where a Japanese character gets introduced, and you're like, he's not going to do a Japanese accent, is he? Oh no, he's doing a Japanese accent. Oh, no.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's pretty bad, Jordan. It's pretty bad. It's not great. It's not great. I don't think this book is very good. I'm bearing the lead.
Disagree.
I don't think it's a very good. I think it is at points enjoyable, and I am enjoying the story, and I will absolutely finish the book. And I'll come back here and I'll tell you what I think in a unrelated section to whatever episode of the show we're doing. But I think it represents the worst kind of online fandom, like that gatekeeping incel. I'm hesitant to call Wade an incel, but he pretty much is an incel. He certainly has some incel conversations later on in the book. He is creepy and unnerving. And the book itself, if you are unfamiliar with 80s nostalgia, Lord help you. Like, I have no idea what Lady Hawk is, but he sure loves Lady Hawk.
The thing is that, and they also further explore this in the second one. You're not wrong, but that's also kind of the point. The point by the end of the second one is that Wade and gang kind of realized that Halliday kind of had a negative influence on the world, and he wasn't necessarily the best person.
Okay, because my number one thing about this book is not all of them, Artemis is, but certainly Wade and H are so blissfully, they lack self-awareness. They have no self-awareness. He constantly points out how fucked the planet is, and how he wants to get on a spaceship and go into space. But like he's so addicted to the Oasis, he's completely unaware that the Oasis is the reason why the world is broken.
I mean, yeah, but I would make the argument that that's fairly accurate to real world. The real world is so addicted to Facebook and TikTok that they bury their heads in the sand and don't do anything about the problems facing the world.
Here we be. And like, he is also a shockingly naive character in the sense that, like, all of the Gunters are to a degree. I mean, I did get to a point where they're like, yeah, all of the Gunters are incel losers. Like, they're all like, oh, a girl can't possibly blah, 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 blah. And it was,
Yeah, but the book also doesn't present that as a good
no,
thing.
it doesn't. It doesn't
So,
acknowledge that they're good people. But
like
well, from it does
at,
and
at,
it doesn't.
at
It
a certain
doesn't. It doesn't. It
at
doesn't.
a certain point, Wade is like, yeah, the Gunter clans are just as bad as the Sixers, but we respect them because, like, they're not corporate sellouts.
Right.
That's the only reason he gives them any sort of like leeway,
That's
for lack of a better
that's
word.
my other thing with it is like Wade is just shockingly unaware. I mean, again, maybe that, but again, that's where my argument comes. It's just not a well written book because it's like he seems to be so unaware of the Oasis from an economic standpoint. Like he just doesn't consider why a multi corporation would be so invested in controlling. Like he just seems to be so unaware of like
I mean, you have to
beyond
keep in
just a
mind
piece of entertainment what this is.
you have to keep in mind that, especially at the beginning of the book, he's supposed to be like a 17-year-old
I
kid.
know. I am.
Yeah, a 17-year-old kid isn't going to be. I certainly at that age wasn't thinking about why corporations do what they do.
Sure,
I just was.
but there's points where he's confronted with that, like when he meets Sorrento, and he's just still completely like, as far as he's concerned, it's yeah, he just doesn't understand why they're so motivated to go to the lengths they are because
Here's what I'll say.
there's a lot of background stuff that he just is
he
unaware of.
he grows by the end of the book.
Fair
is
enough.
what I'll say.
I'm just over halfway through it, so it has at the beginning like half of it is agonizing at points. It just is. Like there's just points where it's like they're essentially reading what is essentially a Wikipedia article, and like I say, like more help you if you're unfamiliar with war games.
That doesn't bother me.
Like
I wasn't familiar with war games.
Oh, it's like I don't. The man, I wish I knew more about Lady Hawk to appreciate what Lady Hawk is. Like, there's just a point where he's aggressively defending Lady Hawk, and I'm like, man, this means nothing to me.
On the one hand, I understand your complaint, but on the other hand, that's why they explain a lot of the stuff. It's for the people that don't get it, and also some of the stuff in this book I hadn't seen the first time I read or listened to it, and I retroactively did.
Right. It's just one of those things where it's like, also as a character, like you made the case that it's about nostalgia, but Wade doesn't have nostalgia for this stuff. It's not his nostalgia. I mean, and maybe
it's about the reader's nostalgia. That's what the nostalgia is.
But in terms of the actual story, is it wants to be about this nostalgia, but none of the characters actually feel nostalgia.
Well, they don't. To be fair, in one of the descripting monologue sections of the book where he talks about the world at large, he doesn't call it nostalgia. He calls it a cultural fascination. Fascination.
Right.
Cultural fascination.
Well, I'm talking about in terms of the external, like what the book is trying to say. It's not the characters aren't. It's not really about nostalgia. It's just showing off how much information you know.
No. The book is not about it being about nostalgia. They're not nostalgic for it. For them, it's their entire culture developed around it because of Halliday and his contest.
Right.
So
right.
no, it's not about a nostalgia. The characters don't have a nostalgia for it.
But it wants to be. That's my point.
They have it wants you, the reader, to have a nostalgia for it.
What I'm saying is it wants to be, the theme of the book wants to be about nostalgia, but it can't be because none of these characters are nostalgic. Like there's not. Maybe if it was about more recent nostalgia, I don't know. It's just the nostalgia. It's a book based upon the hey thing I recognize, but it's so hyper specific. At least to be fair, in the first half. This book has gotten better as it's gone on. As this book goes on, it becomes less that. It becomes less just him reading chunks off of a Wikipedia article he clearly printed and posted into his manuscript. It becomes less that, and it becomes more about the overall implications of things. The more it becomes about the actual Easter egg hunt itself, and the less it's about Wade pining or bragging about how good he is at video games. Or another example is, Lord help you if you're unfamiliar with Joust.
See, now I almost want you to listen to the second one because I'm fascinated, because I have stronger, like I think that one's a much worse book, and judging by how I thought you would like this one, it makes me go like, hey, maybe you're the weird one who likes the second one more.
Sir, I've read the Wikipedia article about it. No, it looks terrible, but
It's pretty bad.
it's not so much for me. Because you get Jordan got kind of upset that I didn't like this, but I heard a phrase this week that I've been holding on to, because it made me think of you, and it was criticism is not condemnation.
I mean, too much criticism is.
I mean, sure, but it is not inherently in and of itself condemnation. I'm not
No,
condemning
yeah,
the
you're
thing.
yeah, sure, but when you have 8 negative things and like 2 positive things to say, yeah, no, that means you don't like it.
It's oh no, I don't. It's not. I don't like to say I don't like it because I am enjoying the book. It's just there are moments where I'm like, yeah, okay, I get the point. I get the point. I get the point. This could have been like a couple pages shorter, a few paragraphs shorter. Like I get it. I get it. I get it. Like there's just been a lot of moments like that where I'm like, I don't need you to go. I wish I could think of specific examples right now.
But again, that's because you're familiar with the thing that it's describing. It
No.
needs to do that for people that don't.
No, I know. In the case of like the scene with the war games, that was another example of like, yeah, this is agonizing because I don't appreciate these references. It's way too ultra specific. Like it's just too much.
Yeah.
When it feels,
Whatever. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one.
when it strips away all of that and it actually becomes about the interactions between the characters in a way that's actually like my favorite scene so far. My favorite bit so far is after his aunt, the scene where his aunt Sorrento, the scene with Sorrento and like that on, where they're talking about forming the alliance and all that. That stuff's 1,000 times more interesting and engaging to me than I could if I wanted to read a Wikipedia article, or listen to a Wikipedia. I'd read the Wikipedia. If I wanted to read about a scene from War Games, I'd go watch War Games. Like I'm more interested in the story about this world than having them describe something that I can go look up myself. That's all this book in the beginning of it is. But we will come back another time, and I will tell you about the back half of the book, probably in a few weeks when I actually finish it.
We'll finish this debate.
But yeah, I just don't think. And to be fair, it's not a terribly well received book. Fundamentally, I would say that yes, the movie is a bad adaptation of it. Steven Spielberg, I understand why he was drawn to the material. But it's not really suited for him as it's presented in the book. That having been said, I like the movie better than the book.
Ooh!
Only because it's
you sicken me.
For the very basic reason that if the goal of the thing is to be thing I recognize, I care way more about watching Mechagodzilla fight the Iron Giant than I do hearing him spend pages describing Lady Hawk.
But in the book, Justin, it's spoilers. It's Mechagodzilla versus Sentai, not Sentai, Ultraman.
I mean, yes, that would also be a thing I recognize, but I didn't get to see that. I got to see the Iron Giant fight Mechagodzilla.
Which to me it just works better because like they're both from the same sphere of influence.
Absolutely.
And the idea of seeing a crossover like that on screen would be so cool.
But like
especially if it was actually Mechagodzilla and not the abomination they gave us on screen.
There's a lot of I don't know. See, I like this version of Mechagodzilla better than the one that shows up in Kong versus Godzilla. I think it looks more.
I mean, you're comparing two turds.
I mean, yeah, they're not great. They're not perfect looking Mechagodzillas, but I don't hate the Mechagodzilla. I thought he looked all right. But yeah, to me, there's more things I recognize in the movie, and if that's the goal of this thing is just to bait me with my nostalgia, it works. It's way more effective, in my opinion. But yes, it is a very bad adaptation.
And hiss.
It misses a lot of the point of the overall universe. It doesn't really go into the. It downplays the impact that the Oasis has on the world, culturally, economically. It downplays all of that. A lot of the characters get fucked. The Kaito and Saito or whatever the names are, they get fucked. There's a twist. I'm going to give away a twist, but there's a twist that H, his best friend, is a girl that they completely telegraph in the movie. That's actually a legit good twist. Like, they tee you up to think that Artemis is going to turn out to be a guy. And then there's a real good... They don't remotely set it up at all.
Or butt ugly.
Or butt ugly, yeah. They don't set it up at all. So yeah, so that's a pretty good, that's a pretty solid twist that I can see coming because I know that it's coming. But if I didn't know it was coming, I wouldn't have guessed it.
I mean, you know it's coming because you watched the movie first. So
A little
yes,
bit,
you know it's
but
coming.
well, not even that I watched the movie. It would be the case. It's one of those like once you know the twist, you can spot the foreshadowing to the twist. So
Right. But that's what I'm saying. You know the twist because you saw the movie
No, my
first.
point is that watching the movie is irrelevant. I know the story. Whether or not I'd seen the movie, if I knew the story, it would be the same thing. What I'm saying is, if you've read the book and you reread the book, you will spot the foreshadowing that the twist is coming.
I mean, yeah, but the first time you're experiencing it, if you're experiencing the book first, you're not going to know.
No. You would definitely know in the movie. The movie,
exactly.
That's why I'm saying it telegraphs it hard. It telegraphs it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it for Ready Player One. For now, put a pin in it, to be continued.
So the first one that I watched was a 2024 Adam Sandler movie called Spaceman.
I've heard it's okay.
It's aggressively okay.
I've heard it's okay.
Definitely, probably one of the more serious roles that I've ever seen Adam Sandler try to do.
Yep.
Also, when I think space alien, I don't think psychic spider.
I mean, what do you think?
Little green man.
I mean, there's a plethora of space creatures from space.
I mean, yeah, I know. I just, for whatever reason, gigantic spider is not one that I ever really thought of.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of other alien. I'm just saying, it's a wide universe.
You're not wrong. I'm just saying, of the things I would have pictured, it's not one of them.
I mean, fair.
I guess because whenever I think alien, I think more humanoid. Like you can have like a humanoid Spider-Man.
True.
But like to have it just be like a terrestrial, normal-looking spider.
Oh, it's just a regular spider, not like a freaky alien spider?
No, it's just a regular. I mean, it's big, like it's a big spider, but it's still just a spider.
No, when you say big spider, are you talking like human size or like a tarantula?
Yeah, like man size.
Oh, I mean, okay, then that's still alien, suitably alien enough.
No, it's just a big spider.
We don't have big spiders on Earth.
Sure, but it still looks like something that, like, even if you took what I guess I'm saying is it's because it looks like something that would form on Earth. Yes, it's bigger, but it still just looks like something that would come from Earth. It's not like it's because it's like a brown normal looking, like it looks like a big tarantula. It's not like it's like blue.
I mean, I guess, but my point is it's still a big spider. We don't have big spiders.
Yeah, but it's just a spider.
Maybe if I saw the spider, I would match your indignation. But as it's described, big spider is still pretty alien. You go to an alien planet, you see big spiders.
It's basically, in Harry Potter, not Aragog, not that size, but the size of his children.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would consider this. If I went to an alien planet, I saw big spiders, I'd be like, those are definitely alien spiders.
But I would still be like, it's strange that there's spiders here. Why aren't there like 20-legged like monsters that are here? Like something from Stranger Things. Something from Stranger Things feels way more like an alien to me than just a spider.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess different suspension. Not even suspension of disbelief. I believe that makes sense. If something if a planet had to sustain life and it was on another planet, then yeah, it makes sense that their evolutionary chain would be similar to ours, except for on their planet the spiders got bigger.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
maybe on their planet elephants are small. You don't know.
Psychic spider was not really one that I would have expected, but it's an okay movie. Adam Sandler does a decent job with his acting skills.
He's appropriately sad and pathetic looking.
He's definitely old looking.
Yep.
It's him on a spaceship and there's people and it's a very slow movie. That I will say.
Sorry. It's really annoying. Why did it keep talking?
But overall,
my phone.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Do you have any questions for me about it?
I do not.
All right. Well, then that is
I was hoping it'd take longer.
Spaceman.
I'm just trying to find. Oh, where the heck is it? Oh, I'll figure it out later. It's just annoying. My phone keeps turning off, and it's really annoying to have to like reopen it every single time I want to look at my list. My next one is a little movie. I talked about The Grinch this week on our friend of the show Haley's podcast, the Party Broadway World podcast. So that put me in a Dr. Seuss mood. So I watched The Lorax, who speaks for the trees, and it's played by Danny DeVito.
He speaks for the trees, and he sells cars.
And he sells cars. He sells SUVs, which is just fun. Like, yeah, we have where we live, we have a meal, adult half meal, the Grinch meal, and there we go.
Which is stupidly expensive.
Very
10-piece chicken, 10-piece chicken McNuggets. And you get the socks, which I get it. Like, I get it has socks in it, so they have to recoup their costs somehow. But socks are cheap. Is like $18.
Oh, it's really expensive, and it's stupid popular.
Like
so you probably wouldn't even, depending on when you were looking at it, you probably wouldn't have even got the socks because we've been sold out of them consistently. Very popular, but that to me, The Grinch is anti-commercialism, so it just feels funny to have them selling stuff. This movie is an environmental movie. In which, yes, you had the Lorax selling SUVs to people. I don't think people really fully appreciate that. But yeah, and it's really funny because they were clearly very confident in this movie. It's written and produced and directed in such a fashion, and the music is done in such a fashion that you could absolutely adapt this into a stage play. And it feels like they were gonna. Like they were gonna turn this into a all of the musical numbers are staged in a fashion where you could easily put this on stage very easily.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that it never did.
Right? I think it's because this movie bombed horribly and it did really badly and everyone saw through it very cynically. I like this movie. I enjoy it. I think it's funny. There's a lot of funny. That's a woman. There's a lot of funny.
Woman?
Funny. I like the music. I like all of the songs. I think How Bad Can I Be is just generally a great villain song. I thoroughly enjoy that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
Yeah, like does it perhaps a tad miss the point of the original a little bit? But it's one of the consequences of like you're taking a character who wasn't really a character, turning him into a character kind of movie. Also, my one thing about it was how old do you think is also Aloysius? What does that mean?
Aloysius O'Hare?
Yeah. What does that mean? What does Aloysius
Let's look
mean?
it up.
And while I do that, how old is he, do you think?
Him? 40?
You think he's 40? Because, like, okay, because the Onceler at the end, because this was driving me crazy. Because all the adults in that town are too old to not know what a tree is. Trying to Google Aloysius?
Yeah, I'm trying to, and so I had to look up the character first so I can get how they spell it.
I would have just looked up the lyrics.
What does Aloysius mean? With German and Latin origins, Aloysius is a traditional yet underused name, meaning famous in war or famous warrior.
Oh, so it's just he's famous. The famous O'Hare is basically what it's saying.
Famous warrior is funny to me because he's so short.
Right?
So I could see it being a pun off
But yeah,
of
it was
that.
the thing that was driving me crazy. I'm like, all the adults in this town are too old to not know what a tree is. Unless Aloysius is supposed to be, unless O'Hare is supposed to be like 90 years old.
Well, no, but that's where it's like, if he's...
It seems like an entire generation of people have lived in this city. Like it seems like Ted is like second generation person living in this city, and the Onceler, he's old now. He's got like a gray beard and mustache or whatever. So it had to have been at least 50. And the grandmother says that she saw a tree when she was a little girl. So like, how old is O'Hare?
If we assume
he's the only character who doesn't make any sense.
You're right. I never thought about it before, but if we assume that Onceler when he's in his young form is like, let's say 18.
Yeah, young man.
And then like when he's the old man Onceler, let's assume that like 50, 60 years
Enough that they don't
have
know what
gone
a
by.
tree is.
So
Like a generation of
the
people, at least.
the grandmother at that point could be the little girl that's at the young, like when Rinsler is young, she
Yeah.
could be the young girl there. So like then that would mean that in that beginning part, when we see O'Hare and he's got the braces and he's like, yeah, what's next? Let's say that he's like 17 there, maybe
Okay.
16 because he's got braces, so he's
Yeah.
like a high schooler. And 60 years pass, so like he's like what, 66 there?
He looks good for his age, I guess is what I'm
He
saying
looks
there.
he looks good for his age,
Unless he's
all that
supposed to be
money.
like an adolescent, like a kid.
I mean, maybe he's supposed to be in his like 30s.
Maybe. Because like it's just he's the one character in that movie that doesn't make any sense in terms of the timeline. Like the amount of knowledge they lack on the environment just sort of says that they've been living in this town for multiple generations. I doubt Google's gonna help you.
I just want to see what it has to say.
But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the Lorax. That's all I got. I just realized I did 3 book adaptations this week and 2 musicals, if you count The Giver as a musical. Which I do. There's enough songs in there that
Doesn't really say, unfortunate.
I'm absolutely gonna Google it later. Though,
It just says a short middle-aged man.
middle aged. That doesn't make any sense. I have to go to Google to be like, am I the only one who had this thought when watching this children's movie? That's otherwise okay.
You probably were, because I never thought about it before.
Doesn't make any sense.
So is that all you have to say about the
That's
Lorax?
it. The Lorax speaks for the trees.
The one who speaks for the trees and the Subarus.
I will say the bit when he comes back at the end and he slowly floats back down and then the one side like gives him a hug. I love that scene. It's really good. It's an emotionally manipulative movie that is very effective at points.
It really is. It really is. So, in previous weeks, I talked about Dragon Ball Resurrection F and how it was a bad sequel. Now I'm going to talk about Dragon Ball Super Broly, and how it is probably my favorite Dragon Ball movie.
Ah, it's so good. I can't say that it's my favorite, only because I think
It's definitely one of them.
it's definitely top 5 easy, but I love Dead Zone so much, and that movie is such an integral part of my childhood. It's why I love Dragon Ball Z. So like, more than anything, that movie is why I love Dragon Ball Z. So it's hard for me not to say Dead Zone is my favorite, but it's a solid second.
It's just it. I mean, yes, does it turn Goku into Superman? It does. But it does it so well.
It's the only one of them that I would qualify as an actual movie with a 3-act structure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's got beautiful animation.
It is beautiful. Other than some of the fight scenes where they just kind of turn into a where it kind of just turns into a fighter's cutscene.
Yeah. But I mean, the parts which are 2D animation, I guess I should say, are very pretty.
Very pretty.
I like how they managed to take the silly character that is Broly and like actually turn him into a character.
Yeah, I don't understand it. There's still people out there who are like the DBZ version of Broly is better, and I'm like, but no, it's not.
No.
I love that character. He's fantastic. He's not.
He's a fun like monster for them to fight, but in terms of an actual character, he's not a character.
Right?
Like he's not. Broly, like this version, the fact that like he doesn't just hate Kakarot because Kakarot was crying as a child.
Right. And this version gets to hang around.
Right? And we might see him come back in some future thing.
Right? I want to see him come back as like I want him to be part of the team, part of the Z Fighters going forward.
I want him to be the way that they reintroduce
Super Saiyan 4?
Super Saiyan 4, where it's like him controlling his power, because the entire point in this one is like he's using the power of Uzaru without the tail, and he's like doesn't have full control of it. So to me, the logical step forward from there is once he has full control of it, he gets a new transformation, which isn't Super Saiyan 4, but is basically Super Saiyan 4.
I mean, that's what I want.
Like to me, that's the best way. And then to have Goku and have Goku and Vegeta see this transformation and be like, "Ooh, a new form to try and achieve," and then they achieve it, and you get Super Saiyan 4. Just have it be the way they bring back Super Saiyan 4.
What we're saying here is, and this is the official position of the Spur of the Moment podcast, is, George, say it with me now. Bring back Super. You're not saying it with me.
Bring back Super Saiyan 4.
And we did it.
Bring back Super Saiyan 4.
We did it. We did it. George, side high five. You're doing it 4. You got to do it to the side. No, to your left. There you go. We're doing it now. We did it. We high fived. We coordinated at the same time. George, is that all you have to say about Super Saiyan 4 Broly?
Super Saiyan 4 Broly is not a real thing yet, but I want it to be.
I mean, it is a real thing if you watch Dragon Ball Heroes.
That's not no. No.
No,
But I love the part in this movie when Frieza like, is that as far as he can go? And Paragus is like, yeah, it appears so. And Frieza's like, somehow I think not, and shoots him through the chest. He's like, oh my God, like a spare beam killed your father. And Broly is like,
I will say,
like, it's funny. Funny stuff.
I remember I didn't love that the first time because I was like, kind of. There's a lot of tonal issues in that movie where I'm like, oh, that's one of them. There's also some moments.
I thought it was funny. It very much felt like a Dragon Ball Z abridged scene.
Also, the fact that Frieza, to be fair, it has everything to do with the fact that this movie takes place after Dragon Ball Super, which kind of seems like it doesn't want to. But the fact that Frieza, having just escaped narrowly from death, having come back to life after helping Goku and Vegeta, decides to turn around and go back to Earth to antagonize the two people who can easily kill him, to wish to be taller.
Yeah, that's my one issue with this movie is
It's really lazy,
especially because it's like it's just it feels out of character for Frieza.
Frieza really didn't need to be involved in this story.
And well, he does because of all the backstory stuff.
Yeah,
but like I don't agree that he doesn't need to be in this movie. I think he doesn't need to have gone back to Earth.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be in the second half of the movie.
Yeah, like the part where he goes back to Earth with them and like tries to antagonize Goku even though he's not strong enough yet and can't beat them yet.
Yeah, it's like
dumb.
He's just there to deliver Broly to Goku, but you didn't need Frieza to do that?
No, Frieza could have sent Paragus and some of his troopers to Earth.
Yeah.
Frieza didn't need to go to Earth.
Right, exactly. I mean, I just don't think Frieza needs to be in the second half of that movie. Paragus and Broly could just go to Earth on their own.
I mean, after they meet Frieza.
No, I don't think they need to beat Frieza. I think you can completely cut Frieza out of the back half of that movie.
They do. They need to go and meet Frieza because otherwise they would have no idea that they're on Earth.
Oh yeah, that is true. Well, I know. Like, I guess
maybe not necessarily Frieza, but like what they needed to do, what they could have done, I guess I should say, if you want to remove Frieza completely, is other than the backstory stuff where he's on planet Vegeta, that needs to be there. But in the second half, the Green Bulma and old dude rescue Paragus and Broly, bring them back to the
Green Bulma? Oh yeah, Green Bulma. I forgot about Green Bulma.
Bring them back to the Frieza Force, and then introduce them to one of Frieza's lieutenants.
Yeah, exactly.
And his lieutenant is like, Lord Frieza would want you to go to Earth and take care of, and then basically have him be the person that sends them there.
I forgot about Green Bulma. Yeah, with the addition of Green Bulma, yeah, I guess theoretically you need the Frieza Force because they're the ones who
part of it.
They're the ones who rescue him off that planet, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you could just have Jocko do that. Have Jocko discover them or something, or something.
I mean, Jocko.
You could contrive a way that doesn't involve Frieza.
Jocko's a good guy. Jocko is part of the Galactic Police.
Yeah,
he wouldn't.
You could have it where he like finds them on the planet and rescues them, and then they don't have to be part of the Freezer Force. Is my point.
No, they do.
Not
Why
necessarily.
would Jocko take a guy that wants to kill Vegeta back to Earth?
He doesn't know that he wants to kill Vegeta. That's the whole thing. You do the whole bit where he pretending to be a good guy thing.
Yeah. No.
Frieza has no place in this movie.
You're right. Frieza doesn't need to be, but the Frieza Force can be. And to me, that kind of, if you're talking narrative story continuing super, that shows that Frieza's influence is once again spreading amongst the galaxy, and
true.
he's rising in power.
Yeah.
You need to show Frieza in some force if you want him to be a threat again.
Yeah, I don't.
You need to show Frieza in some force. I know we don't, but I'm saying, like, the people that are making this narratively super, they want Frieza to be a thing. They have to show his influence.
To be fair, I'd go all the way back to Dragon Ball Super and make it so it's Cell instead of Frieza, because why Frieza again?
I mean, you're never gonna hear me disagree on that. But
and then why is it the one time they do bring back Cell, it's like a hacked, like hackneyed, not the same version that's not nearly as good. That's like
Abomination.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, I like that movie. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, but oh man, it's a travesty what they did to Cell in that movie.
I like that movie, but it did not need to be Cell.
No,
is kind of the thing. It's not Cell, and so the fact that they just use a shell of Cell,
right,
ruins it.
Right, it could be literally any monster. I was like, wow, but
yeah,
they bring back Cell. Anyway, that all you have to say about Broly.
That is all I have to say about Broly.
I forgot to mention that the Lorax on this next one, I got to watch because Jordan said I could. So this next one.
Yes, I did.
This next one I watched wasn't a movie or a TV show; it was a musical.
And the phrase is, because I allowed it, you heathen. Because
he allowed it. I watched Shrek the Musical, which I love, unironically. I think Shrek the Musical is really good, and I honestly think. I mean, I don't know. I used to say I think it's better than the original movie. The original movie is its own thing, and I don't think it's necessarily better than the original movie. But
that's like comparing Wicked to the Wizard of Oz. They're two completely different things.
Completely different things. But I like the interpretation of the story. I like what they've done with Shrek. I enjoy the fact that the fact that you get to see his parents, like what led to him. The stuff with Fiona I enjoy. Sutton Foster as Fiona is a delight. She's so funny. I honestly think she's way funnier than Cameron Diaz is as Fiona, and I really enjoy Brian Darcy James as Shrek. This play is sort of similar to those Disney movies where when they're just doing lines from the movie, it's awful, but when they're allowed to like interpret the material in their own way, it's really good.
So what you're saying is. The original movie is like this small onion with like just a few layers, and then you have this much bigger onion with much more layers. I don't know why I'm doing an accent.
Absolutely.
Much more layers and more depth and more things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the music's good. I really love Who I'd Be, the song that closes the first half. It's really good. Farquaad is so much better. He's so bland in the original movie. In this, he's so funny. He does all these really funny back and forth, like fourth wall breaks with the audience. There's a bunch of funny Broadway musical references. Like there's a reference to Wicked. The bit at the end of What's Up, Duloc, where he's like, "No one's gonna bring me
down."
That's
Wicked.
That's a Wicked reference, yeah. And yeah, the fact that he does the fact that he does the whole play on his knees is incredible.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. My favorite bit is at the end when they're singing I'm a Believer, and he's on his feet. It's like the one song he gets to do on his feet. Some of the staging is just, like I say, genuinely really good. The guy who plays Donkey, also funny. The only song I don't like is the one that the dragons sing. I don't like that one.
The dragon sings a song? I don't remember that.
Donkey Pot Pie.
Oh.
And then they have
I don't remember that. It's been a while since I've seen the musical.
They have him play. They have the dragon played by 3 actresses, and it's just not. And they sing it as like not. I don't know what the 3-person version of a duet is, but it's just not. It's just my least favorite song. What else? What else?
Triumvirate.
Triumvirate, is that what it is? There's a really funny Morning
Oh.
Person, one of my favorite songs. I love that song. There's a really funny moment where Fiona's dancing around with what is clearly an inflatable deer that she just tosses. Where she does the tap dancing with the mice. They walk out and put the dress, like they take the dress off her so she could do the tap dance, and then after the song is done, they come back out and then they put the dress back on her and they walk off. It's really funny. Trying to think. Yeah, it's if you like Shrek, I totally recommend it. It's genuinely really good. And yeah, I think it's one of those things that it made me sad when the internet ruined Shrek, because it was like, this is a thing that's like honestly good and earnest, and like people only like Shrek ironically now, and they're not gonna enjoy it. Like, it's not gonna be the same.
Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
Ooh, that was unpleasant.
Listen to my mouth sounds now.
Can you hear that when I do that?
No, thankfully I can't.
You can't hear the weird mouth sounds I just did?
No.
I apologize. I apologize to the 5 Spotify listeners to our 11 Spotify followers. We know you guys are out there. We hear you. We respect you.
And this time, you can hear everyone involved.
And this time, you'll hear the whole podcast. I hope. Let's do a quick audio check. Yeah, according to Spotify, where you can still hear us. But no, it's really good. John, the guy who plays Pinocchio, is also just very good. Highly recommended. Totally worth checking out, and the music is also good. Let's check the musical.
So my next one is called Tower Heist. Ben Stiller
and Eddie Murphy, right?
Eddie Murphy. You've got Casey Affleck, Adam Alda, Matthew Broderick,
Gabriel said
the
it right.
rest.
The rest. And they're trying to rob Eddie Murphy, right?
No.
No?
They're trying to. There's a guy who owns the building who ended up scamming a bunch of people and companies and stuff. And they're trying. He robbed them of their pension, and they're trying to rob their money back from him.
You know what's really funny is you keep picking these Eddie Murphy movies, and spoiler alert for next week, which, I mean, if you didn't know it was the Christmas special, what are you even doing? I'm gonna do an Eddie Murphy movie.
That is funny. This one's fun. I remember. I don't think we watched. I think we.
I've never.
I remember watching. I remember watching it, but I don't know if I did it on my own.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
But yeah, it's fun. If you like a good funny heist movie, it's got the one of the guys is the the guy from Ant-Man who does the recaps.
Oh yeah. I forget his name. I know who you're talking about.
It's got him in it too. If you like Ben Stiller movies, it's a Ben Stiller movie. It's up there.
Movie. Did he direct it? Do you know? Or is he just starring in it?
Directed by Brett Ratner.
Oh, Brett the Rat Ratner.
Written by Ted Griffin and Jeff Nathanson.
All right.
Apparently, it's based on a story by Bill Collage, Adam Cooper, and
Bill Collage
and Griffin.
All right then. Is that it, Jordan?
Is
there anything exciting to say about Tower Heist other than it's all right?
It had a budget of 75 to 85 million and had a box office of 152.9 million.
All right. It's
so
one of those
it wasn't.
It's one of those ones that I almost watched it once. That's during that period when I worked at the movie theater, I believe. I don't know why I haven't seen it. I wanted to watch it. Maybe I will.
The bad guy is Alan Alda. I don't know if that name means anything to you.
Oh yeah, Alan Alda. Okay, yeah. That I quite like him actually.
So he's fairly he's enjoyable in this one.
Alan Alda. What is he? The only thing I know that I remember him from, I believe he's the one from Grudge Match. He's Sylvester Stallone's coach, if I'm not mistaken. He talks like this. I'm Alan Alda. I talk like this.
He kind of talks like this.
I talk down
I'm trying
here.
trying to find his
That's what I'm thinking of.
Is what you may
Alan
call it.
Alda. Or am I thinking of? No, I might be thinking of Alan Arkin. No, I'm thinking of Alan Arkin. That's Alan Arkin. Sorry, I got them confused.
Let's see. Vamp while I look through his.
I'm pretty sure I got that wrong. I think I'm thinking of Alan Arkin. I'm most entirely positive I'm thinking of Alan Arkin. We'll
He was
find
in a
out.
movie. He was in a movie called Canadian Bacon.
Oh, I think he's the reason why I know him is he's in How I Met Your Mother. I think he dated Robin.
He was in What Women Want.
Oh, look at his television credits. Tell me if he was on How I Met Your Mother. As himself. Pretty sure. We're gonna find out. 3, 2, 1. Was he on How I Met Your Mother?
I'm looking, man. He's in a lot of stuff. I don't see it.
Never mind. Jordan, I think we need to move on. This bit's run too long.
That's fair. But yeah, no, fun movie.
See, Jordan, I didn't watch a fun movie because Jordan, the next one I watched. That's it. That's it for Tower Heist. I don't want to.
Yeah.
The next movie I watched is The Giver. And here's the thing about The Giver, Jordan. I hated that movie the first time I watched it. I hated it thoroughly. It was so bad, and I've said this very famously. I almost cried. I don't know if you remember that, Jordan. I don't know if you remember me being in the car. It was so bad. It was so bad.
I remember you being very upset. I don't remember the crying, but I remember you being upset.
Almost cried. I didn't actually cry. This time I didn't hate it as much because now I understand how movies are made. So I just I understand elements of this. Like I understand why he's 16 now, because it would be weird if you gave a 12-year-old a serious job like this. I understand why it has an action sequence at the end.
That was kind of the point of the book, is that the world was fucked, man.
I kind of understand why they added an action sequence to the end of this that wasn't in the book. I understand why what's her face is there as the elder, who is now the bad guy of the piece. I understand functionally. You're making a YA movie. I understand why these things are there. But yes, does this movie drastically miss the point of the book. I mean, number one, first of all, it's immediately apparent that this is a horrible dystopia, right? Whereas in the book, because it's obviously told from the perspective of a 12-year-old, it's presented as this idyllic society where worries and cares and everything that makes the world bad no longer exists. Like, you're supposed to think that it's perfect, and the notion that it's a bad world is supposed to be slowly peeled back and revealed, so that when you get to the point when you see the dad kill the little baby, you're like, whoa, like that's really screwed.
Not even just that the dad killed the little baby, but he does it with the happy, like, this is for your own good, little buddy. And like, it's not just the act, but it's the lack of emotion or care or realization that what he's doing is horrifying.
And the notion that they're putting all of it. I think you kind of like we read this book in elementary school as like an 8-9-year-old, 7, 8, 9-year-old, that sort of age range, and you don't really appreciate as a child the fact that them putting this on a 12-year-old is fucked, like
right?
So fucked. You don't really appreciate that he's being given all this bad shit, and the thing that frustrates me about the movie is the movie feels the need to address the mechanics of the world, where like Jonas asks him, "Oh, how does this work?" and he goes, "It just works." And like, yes, I as a child was always bothered by the fact that the book never explains how this actually works mechanically speaking. I appreciate as an adult that that's not the point of the book.
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to question how these things. How is he passing memories? How did the memories get past him? How does that work? So in the book, I don't know if they say this in the book, but in the movie, they come up with the plan that if he leaves the village, all the memories will be released to everyone. And in the movie, you see all the memories get released to everybody. You see it happen. Yeah,
I believe that's the plan in the book as well, is basically once he leaves, all the memories return to the people.
But the book never really explains how that works. It does, because it doesn't really need to. That's not the point. But the movie feels the need to lampshade it, because otherwise it doesn't explain it, right?
because it can't explain it because the book never explained
Right.
it.
And there's a lot of like the little details of like they keep going precision of language, but because they don't have time, it has everything to do with it being like you say, book adaptations should maybe always be shows because like it doesn't have the. But then again, I don't know if a show would explain it properly either. It doesn't explain the importance of stuff like precision of language and why they say that. Like whereas the book does, it explains all of that. So like when she's getting like precision of language, which by the way, incidentally, this week, man, I was wishing for some precision of language from some coworkers. But like it's like little world building stuff like that. A movie doesn't really. Also, I don't like how Jeff Bridges plays the Giver. I just don't. I don't like his performance.
Bridges.
The elder knows stuff like, oh, you remember what it was like before with all the wars and stuff. So she has the memories, which makes the Giver's position entirely redundant.
Yeah, isn't the point supposed to be that no one but the Giver remembers?
Right, exactly. It makes it completely friggin' pointless. And that's not mentioning the romance, the love triangle subplot between the three leads, which is awful and misses the point of the book. It's just generally a bad adaptation and just not a very good movie.
To be fair, that has everything to do with them aging them up, though. Like in the book, it's a childhood. Like they're still kids.
I mean, there needs to be Hunger Games. There needs to be a Gale and there needs to be a Peeta. Like that's what needs to happen. Like Asher is barely a character in the books, but he goes on to become like the leader of recreation or whatever. You don't really hear from him. Whereas in this, he joins the army, and you get to like see the army and stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's not the point of this book. But also like so much of that book is inner monologue and inner discussion that this just doesn't convey. I don't. Here's my question based on your limited memory of that book. I would retrospectively, I would say that book might be unadaptable.
I mean, there's just certain stories which it's like they're never intended for the big screen.
No, so much of that book is his inner thoughts that I don't know how you do it as a movie.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
or
there's
like,
a lot. There's at least one other movie that I can think of which I think would make a far better book, which. Buried is another example of that where I think that's unadaptable.
Yeah, but this one's like the stuff where he's experiencing the memories. So much of that is about feelings. Like it's describing the sensation of what it feels like. You just can't. Again, you cannot convey that on film. You just can't. It's just, and I don't think this being a TV show would help it, other than you'd maybe be able to have longer scenes of them having conversations amongst themselves. But that's kind of it. I don't know how being a TV show would help serve this.
I don't see how it would.
Right?
I think this is just an example where it was never going to be as good as the book.
Which is funny because when I was a kid, I wanted this to be a movie so bad. Maybe if they did it where he's 12 and it's, but I don't know. I don't know a version of this which would work on film. I just don't. But hey, maybe someone in the comments will let us know if you feel there's a way to make this work as a film. Let us know. We don't do enough engagement with the audience. Jerome, what's your next one?
I mean, we'll get there, but no. We do enough engagement with them, Justin. They don't engage with us. Leave comments. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Talk with us. Shouldn't all be on us, is all I'm saying. My next one is role models. I could be a role model.
I mean,
a bad role model, but I could be a role model.
I like that movie. Jane Lynch in that movie is very funny. She's a national treasure.
She is insane. It's great. Paul Rudd. The dude from American Pie.
I feel like there's a line from this movie that we quote all the time, and it's just I'm totally drawing a blank. There's something about this movie that we constantly call back to in our personal lives, and I'm totally blanking right now.
I don't know. There's a lot in it, which is funny. I love the. The LARPing stuff. This movie makes it look fun, fun enough that I would be interested in trying it if it was like this, but it would never be this organized.
No.
McLovin is funny in it.
McLovin is funny in it.
It's got Mr. Chow from The Hangover is in it. He's the king.
Yeah, he's the king, right? I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then there's good old Paul Rudd, who's he's just a dick for most of it and
Right.
funny.
He's Paul Rudding
Um,
all over the place.
the beginning part where he's like, Venti is large, something is large. This is large. This is large. Venti is the only one which isn't large. Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages. And I'm just like, whoa, what a dick.
Coming in hot.
Um, and then the girlfriend at that point is like, Venti means 20, as in 20 ounces, which is large, you dick. And then he's like, and then Paul Rudd's character's like, is that true? Is that, interesting. And I'm like, that's funny. It's funny. It's got a lot of funny moments in the movie. Don't bullshit a bullshitter, I think is the thing you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, maybe it's don't bullshit. Yeah, I'm positive it was something. I don't remember.
Jamie Lynn's
Don't bullshit.
famous line. You don't. I'm the master bullshitter. You don't bullshit a bullshitter. The when they're doing the beginning part, when they're selling advertising the energy drinks, doing the don't do drugs speech, and he freaks out, and then the Minotaur truck ends up like on the cow statue or whatever, and I'm like, ha, that's funny. That's a funny visual joke. Although I will say, I think there is a real missed opportunity in this, where the final part where they all dress up as the band members of Kiss to be Kiss My Anthea. I think it was a real missed moment where they should have had a fun callback to the original where Stifler is dressed up in the Minotaur costume.
That'd be funny.
And then all the people at the place are like, they got thine mighty Minotaur to fight for them. Like I think it was a real, because instead he's just dressed as a member of Kiss, which granted is funny because it's got the Kiss music playing, but it's just like you got a bunch of nerds there, and you don't have the guy dressed in the Minotaur costume. Missed opportunity.
It does feel like a missed opportunity. Jordan, is that it for role models?
That's it. I could be a role model.
Jordan,
a bad one.
Jordan, how many more rapid fires do you have?
I think that's the last one.
Oh, excellent. I have one more. Perfect. We are trucking right along, Jordan. We are at an hour. Oh, no,
40. Sorry. I do have one more. It's Land Before Time.
Oh, okay. Good. We're trucking right along, Jordan. We're at an hour and 40. This might not be 3 hours this week. Yay.
We'll see.
Anyway, my final rapid fire for this week is a little movie called The Troll in Central Park. And here's my history with The Troll in Central Park. I don't like this movie. I'm just going to bury the lead right away and say it's a bad movie. Bad Don Bluth. Bad movie. I didn't like this movie as a child. I first watched it, I think, when I was 6 or 7. It scared the bejesus out of me. It was a very frightening movie to me, a very upsetting movie. And I could never quite articulate why I didn't like this movie, and I've never really rewatched it as an adult until somebody said I had to. So, this movie's very bad. It's not very... I was of the opinion that all of Don Bluth's movies were at least okay, but, like, even Don Bluth doesn't like this one. He apparently famously disavowed it in, like, an interview at one point. Okay, number one, it exists in a direct response to Disney because there's the troll queen who is very much coded to be Ursula. She's meant to be Ursula. But the problem with this movie is the kids are too young. That's really every issue I have with this movie all comes back to the fact that the kids are too young. So, like, I don't know, maybe it's because I live in 2024, my sensibilities are just different than they were in 1994, but he's like 7 and she's 2, and they're out in the park alone all day, and not one adult says anything.
In New York, you're missing a big part there. Like, yeah, no, they're getting snatched.
And the kid is I remember when I was a kid thinking the kid was annoying, and now as an adult I think he's exceptionally annoying. But like he's annoying in the way that he's just a 7-year-old. So like all of his problems are like all tied into the fact that he's just 7 and he doesn't understand how the world works. So
He
like his
can't
dad,
regulate his emotions.
that's it. That's that. Yes, sir. That's what I was looking for. He's 7 and he can't regulate his emotions yet. So like, and as a character, he's written as a 7-year-old, so he's not really relatable. So as a kid, I didn't like this kid because I didn't find him relatable. And as an adult, he's too young, and I'm constantly worried about his safety. But not in like a or certainly for
not in a fantasies like a fantasy. He's going through a fantasy world kind of way, but in a very real. He's in Central Park in New York, and he's 7, and I'm worried that he's gonna fall in the pond,
especially
or like get hit crossing the street,
especially with the 2-year-old who can't. It's hard to become invested in a character who speaks in baby talk. And it really doesn't matter what it is. Hearing a baby cry is unpleasant. It makes a there's an action sequence in this, a fantasy sequence where she makes the kid cry and it like floods everywhere and they have to get in the boat to escape. And it's an upsetting scene because they're both crying, and there's just something inherent in you as a person that when you hear a child cry, like genuinely cry, it's not pleasant feeling. It's just not. It doesn't make this. It makes the sequence unfun, and you're just like, why are you picking on this 2-year-old? Like, surely there are adults you could fuck with. Like, why are you doing this, troll queen? And and so the movie is also an hour.
Check on someone your own size.
A little bit, and like the movie's an hour and like 10 minutes long, and 30 minutes of it is just whimsical musical numbers showing off how well. Oh, I forget his name. Oh, what's his name? I have to look it up now. The guy who plays Itchy, Dom DeLuise. It's just an exhibition to show off. Sorry, it's really distracting. How well Dom DeLuise can sing, because it's like the first 30 minutes are just whimsical musical numbers about him singing how he wants the world to be green, and that's kind of it. And then out of nowhere, in the second half, the troll queen shows up, and she's like really scary, like. She's scary way too scary for the target audience. So this movie is like, and the musical numbers are so boring, and the music's not very good. So like the sections where it's whimsical, and it's funny because I read a review that was like, oh, this is a movie made only for children. Like only young children will enjoy this movie. But no, they won't, because it's so fucking scary. Like it is an upsetting movie, and I could say that because it scared the bejesus out of me as a child. Like when he turns. When the troll queen shows up and Stanley gets turned into a stone, it's like upsetting in a way that doesn't feel good.
I remember that being upsetting as a child.
Yeah, like it's upsetting in a way that doesn't. It's like it doesn't reward you by being in equal measures happy or fun or exciting. And it's not long enough for you to really get to know any of these characters. And like I say, the children are too young to either be relatable or for you to like want to follow them. Like
I think there's also just the fact that part of the reason why that scene where Stanley's turned into a statue, why it feels as dark as it does, is because the kids are so young. Stanley is the most responsible and powerful adult figure there. So when he loses to the queen, I mean, you feel really, really worried for those kids that have no chance.
Right, and like him getting turned into a troll is it's upsetting. And exactly. Like Stanley's interactions with the children are weird. Like they don't feel familial or friendly. They feel. They're just it's hard to describe if you're not watching it, but they're just really strange. Like he's friends with a 2-year-old.
I think the word you're looking for is predatory.
It comes across as I know it's not the intent, but it comes across as such because she's so young. He's like, oh, these are my friends, and it's like, dude, go make adult friends. Like
Michael Jackson wants to talk to him.
Right, like it's just like. The very simple solution is make him 10 or 12 and make her 6 or 7. Give them agency. Give her agency.
And make Stanley a kid.
Yeah, or make Stanley a kid. But now even then I would say that the kids are still too young. Like I would age up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying age them up and age Stanley
lead
down
yeah.
into a kid.
Yeah, into a kid, yeah. And then you could do the Troll Queen as like a scary maternal, like, oh, you're always scared of your of like a maternal or like, you know what I mean? Like
I mean, at that point, I would make it where
Troll Queen's like Stanley's mom or something.
yeah, she's his mom, and he's the one strange one in the family who doesn't want to do what the family wants.
Right? But to be
I mean,
fair,
they did a lot of Disney movies
yeah.
that were like
Like this
that.
doesn't need
So
much to fix it. Yeah, but yeah, my biggest point is that those kids are just too young. Like they're too young. It makes the movie not work. Like fundamentally, every problem I have stems from that issue.
like I would the boy is not too young if he's the young one.
Exactly.
Like if you have like
Even then,
there's the older
borderline.
brother who's like 12 or 13 and he's the irritating young brother, like 8 or 9-year-old brother.
Yeah.
Like TK. He's TK.
He's according to Wikipedia he's 7, but he skews 5 to 6. Is how he skews in my opinion.
I'm just like if you made it where he was like 9.
Yeah. It's what I'm saying is you're right. If you skew him older, so he's 8 or 9 as opposed to 6 or 7, which he clearly is. Yeah, it would work way better. And yeah, you add a bit of whimsy. Also, an additional 20 minutes probably would have helped this.
To me, yeah, you like the way that I would do it is I would age Susie.
I believe it's Susie.
The girl.
The girl, yeah.
I would age her up to 9, and I would age him up to like 12.
Absolutely. Or even if she's 6 or 6, she's 7 or 8, but she's a girl, so she's a bit more mature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like totally, it works infinitely better. Also, yeah, what I'm discovering with animated movies from the 80s and 90s is animation is well, other than maybe Jetsons. Jetsons I didn't think needed to be all that longer, but this movie could do with another 10-15 minutes.
I mean, the reason why you didn't feel Jetsons needed to be was because that was like an hour 10 hour.
I think it was almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, like it was long enough. This is like this one and Land Before Time are like not even an hour 20.
Yeah, I used to very much be okay. Oh, also, we're gonna this will dovetail and transition nicely into Land Before Time. Don Bluth has a boner for traumatizing children. No, I shouldn't say it that way. That sounds bad. But no, I'm gonna rephrase that. I'm gonna rephrase that. Don't clip that out of context. Don Bluth had a thing for traumatizing children. There we go. That's better.
I mean, I'm going to take that and I'm going to make it Don Bluth was good at traumatizing children.
I would say he absolutely desired to. It was he wanted to scare children. Because all of his movies are scary. All of them. All of them are scary.
Which segues nicely if you're done.
Yeah, I'm just saying. They're all scary, including...
You've queued me up for my last rapid fire, which is The Land Before Time, the first one before it got all cutesy and
that movie
sickening.
Is so much more upsetting than people realize. Like it's really dark in a way that like people don't remember. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, like his mom dies pretty fast
and brutally too, from what I remember.
Pretty like she's fighting a T-Rex. The T-Rex, like the earthquake happens, T-Rex falls, and then she's dead from fighting him, presumably. And it's
I remember.
Why are the sharp teeth the only ones not capable of talking? That bothered me the entire time. Even if he had been like short in speech like Grimlock, where he's like, "Oh, kiss now," like that would have. But like what?
Well, I have 2 points to make to that. Number one, in later movies they do, and in point number 2, perhaps it's because we're seeing this from the perspective of the plant eaters, and they speak a different language than the meat eaters.
Okay, I buy that.
Unless, of course, a meat eater who speaks English shows up, in which case it completely undermines my point. But it's been a while since for me, I remember
this one. This one follows the kids trying to get to the Great Valley.
I remember the tar scene being really upsetting.
Yeah, there's a lot of upsetting in this. Also, the Triceratops girl is a little brat.
She sucks.
She sucks.
I never liked her. When I was a kid, I never liked her.
She's the worst.
She is the worst.
There's a person that I remember from my young ages who she reminds me of.
Yeah.
Or who she used to be. Makes me very much think of that person. But
also, beautifully animated. Still looks phenomenal.
Oh, it's a beautiful movie. It's
Some
just
of his movies are starting to look a bit old. Like some of
it's
them
a
are.
it's a little dry, I will say. Goes a little slow
Yeah,
for me.
that one's more about look at how we animated dinosaurs. That one's
Yeah.
yeah. That's pretty much that one's an
Um,
exhibition for his animation. No, there's not much story. There's not much story in Land Before Time 1.
Land Before Time 1, very much though. It's funny, like knowing where they end up and how, like what it very much feels like a prequel to a children's series.
Oh yeah, I mean that was a franchise that they eventually did make it into an animated series, but they were desperately trying. That was like one of the most merchandised uh series ever when we were kids. Like it was everywhere. So that probably was what they were gunning for.
Um, I don't know if this is what they were gunning for with this one, but I think the studios saw this one once it came out and were like, we could do it to this.
It's hard to. We're gonna get Jake on here to do a full like vivisection dissection of his filmography, and we'll talk about him more generally because I'm like fascinated by him and like what he thought he was doing like during the 90s. Like, yeah, did he intend for this to have 50 billion sequels? Was it supposed, like, what were the thoughts there? I would like to come back to this
Because like the way that it ends, it doesn't, like, it feels like an ending. Like it doesn't feel like there was supposed to be more, but it's also written in such a way where I could also believe that there was if this does well, maybe we'll make more intention. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to know because I mean that movie I believe came out, correct me if I'm wrong, 89 or 88.
88.
Ah, yeah, nailed it. They didn't think that way back then. It's really
No.
They made them, and hey, that's kind of what we need to go back to. But yeah, they made the one movie, and then if they got another one, they like, but no, you didn't.
They figured out a way to make a sequel later on.
Exactly, you never made a movie with the intention of making a sequel.
I don't really have a lot more to say about this one, which is why I flipped it into a rapid fire. But it's traumatizing.
It is sufficient. I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one being nearly as traumatizing as. But I think it's because with that one, there's so many of them that my mind blends them all together at a point. Like my favorite one,
I remember the later ones more than I remember the original.
Like my favorite one is I always mush them together, but it's the one with I like the second one, the one with the little T-Rex. But there's one where it has like a bunch of bully characters.
I believe that one's called Beyond the Great Mist.
Is it? Because there's the characters who eat eggs, and they have a really funny song about eating eggs. Where like, why do I do the things that I do? Eggs.
The one with the three bully characters, I believe, is Beyond the.
Is it
Beyond the Great Mist?
They have a song. They have a song that they sing that I quite like. It has a really good guitar in it.
When you're big.
When you're big, yeah, that one. I quite liked that song when I was a kid. And then then I remember the one with the characters who eat eggs, where he's like, "Why do I do the things I do?" Eggs. It's just really funny. But yes, is there anything else you have to say about? Is that it, Jordan? Are we into the half scenes now?
Yes, we will because I say so.
All right. So we're gonna continue on the order. I'm going first. Ooh, what do we want, Jordan? What do we want? Let's do The Fly. We'll do The Fly first. Okay.
Fly. Why are you doing The Fly?
Because you said so. And my God, oh Jordan, what an unpleasant fucking movie. Like, it's so funny because like when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, man, those Terrifier movies were unpleasant. And man, yeah, they were gnarly, and yeah, Hostel was, but there's just something about him tearing his fingernail off that made me flinch in a way that none of those movies did. I was like, stop it, please. And there's so much of him like peeling off his skin, and like, it's just a really gross, an unpleasant movie. But like, my God, just an incredible performance from Jeff Goldblum. Like, just
And those effects hold up.
Oh, they hold up tremendously. I was watching I had to turn off a clip of it, of a YouTube video I put on earlier, where it was Jeff Goldblum talking about that movie because they were showing clips from the movie, and I was like, I can't. It makes me physically ill. Like, I can't. It's really gross. Like he's like, the Brundlefly is such an unpleasant, disgusting character. It's so funny that we've come back to this because in our and we're gonna come back to our origins in a bit. But this is our third attempt at a show, and our second show we watched this movie to do an episode on it, and we were like, we can't make this funny. How do we make this funny?
You can't. It's just that gross.
How do you make it funny? You know, there's no joke. It's just really disgusting. Like, how do you do this? And like, but like now that we talk about stuff in a nuanced way, it is an incredible performance. Yeah, the makeup effects are phenomenal. My favorite bits are, Jeff Goldblum. He's doing Jeff Goldblum, but there are moments where he freaks out, where he stops doing Jeff Goldblum. Like, his voice just becomes a normal man. It's very strange. It's very weird. But it's the kind of for those of you who haven't seen The Fly, you're familiar with it because you've probably seen it parodied a billion times. But it starts, I forget his last name, or his first name, but something Brundle. He has created a teleportation device that can teleport material from it's teleportation. But he can't teleport living matter yet. He's able to teleport like inanimate objects, but he's unable to teleport people. And his entire motivation for doing so, which I didn't remember or know, is that he gets car sick. He can't fly in planes or go in cars because he gets physically nauseous. He gets motion sick. So that's his motivation for creating this thing. But the thing is, it can teleport matter, like it can teleport objects. So it's kind of like this thing would be invaluable as it currently is. Like, why are you not selling this and then using the money to then like refunnel funds into it to then work on putting like people through it? But eventually, he gets or he thinks, because the main, it also stars she was in Beetlejuice, Gina Gershon. I'm trying to think. She's the mom in Stuart Little.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she is in it as a reporter who is his love interest. Oh yeah, as an aside, if you want to see Jeff Goldblum fuck a lot, this is the movie to do that. If that's ever been your desire for the ladies out there. Join together now. Finger guns.
Hey,
for the ladies. Don't
or the guys. Or the guys.
Or
Come
for
on.
the guys who want to watch Jeff Goldblum fuck a lot.
Those who like Wang.
Those who like a little Wang. So she has had a relationship with her editor, and she's sort of developing this relationship with Jeff Goldblum. And Jeff Goldblum thinks that she is going back to him or cheating on him with him because they start to date. And so in a fit of drunken rage, he decides to test the machine on himself. Oh, so I should say also, prior to that, he had tested the machine on a baboon, and it turned him inside out. In a really unpleasant scene where you get to see this baboon inside out. It's really gross. So he manages to put the baboon's brother or sister or whatever through the machine, and the baboon's fine. And so he is now decided he's going to test the machine on himself. So he goes through, and accidentally he goes through with a fly. And his fly and the fly's DNA get merged together. And the rest of the movie is him slowly and unpleasantly turning into a fly monster. And I say all that little preamble to say that the most interesting part of this movie for me is that it's the idea of time travel, of teleportation, of what gets left behind, basically. Is like if it breaks you down and then rebuilds you, are you still the same person that you were out the back of it, or are you a new person, right? Are you the same person you always were? Or,
I mean, you're a new person. Clearly, this movie believes that because it puts two people together.
Right. So this movie subscribes to the idea that the version of you that you were dies, and then the new version emerges. And initially, he's really strong and I said there's a scene where he just he's been having sex all night, and he's really virile, and he's really strong and fast and whatever. And he initially thinks that the machine, essentially like. Do you remember that? Did you ever see that episode of Rick and Morty where Rick and Morty go through the purifier machine? It has toxic Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, where he thinks that the teleportation is like purifying you or whatever, and he wants the girl to go through it, and she refuses to because she thinks that something is off because he's progressively acting more and more like a dick. And it's in those scenes that he stops doing the Jeff Goldblum voice. And it's really kind of interesting. And so you eventually find out that. Or they present it as the Brundlefly, the creature that he becomes, which again is really upsetting, is not actually him, but rather the offspring of him and of the original him and the fly. So when he went into the portal the first time, he died. Brundle died, and he became the creature that came out the other end was the offspring of him, was his son basically. And like that's interesting to me. Yeah, I know that's an interesting to me. What else?
I don't know that I would consider it his son. I look at it more like it's a clone of him.
Yeah, they say, I think they say offspring. He says offspring. I said son because he's male, but he said the Brundlefly refers to it as his offspring.
Interesting.
And yeah, but there's a really dark scene that they deleted. Where he merges the baboon and the cat into one being that they cut out because they said it made him look like a monster. It's really upsetting. I'm glad they cut it.
I mean, the rest of the movie is fucked enough. I don't think we needed that. That feels like the correct choice.
They were like, it's weird because they're like, oh, that made us feel like you lost sympathy for him. But it's already long past the point where you've lost sympathy for him. So I don't fully understand where they're coming from on it. But it's just such a gross scene. I'm not unhappy that they deleted it.
It wasn't a bad choice that they cut it. Whatever their reason.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Again, it's a really. It's funny because Jordan was gonna have me watch Splice, and I'm really glad I vetoed Splice. I made the specific point to watch The Fly during the day because I couldn't watch it before bed. It would give me nightmares. But one of the things he was gonna make me watch was Splice. And I'm ever so grateful you agreed to change it to, what did you change it to?
I don't know. It's one of the things I gave you.
You changed it to something, and I'm really grateful you did, because I don't know if I could do 2 of these. Because it's just truly, like, you know how with Terrifier, you were like, I can't? I just was like, I'm glad I started my week off with it, because if I had ended, I would just be sitting here upset. Like, it was, but like, I won't take anything away from it. It's a well-made movie. It's a well-acted movie. Jeff Goldblum is phenomenal. The makeup is phenomenal. It's disgusting, and it's meant to be disgusting, and it's really effective. I just hope to Christ I never have a reason to ever need to watch that movie again. By the way, just so you know,
the last time.
I know, and just so you know, I'm gonna be looking for a reason to make you watch that movie.
Of course you
Jordan,
are.
severe punishment is coming. Also, I don't think it's the worst movie I watched this week because it's a good movie. I just don't care for it.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
That's it. That's The Fly. That's The Fly. Also, so before you jump into yours, Jordan, when this becomes a YouTube video later, do I just take the 4 main ones and just call the video because Jordan said so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Anyway, what's your next one? What's your first have scene?
My first have scene. So for a minute, Justin, imagine that we lived in a world where there was no such thing as lying. But this is that movie.
This is that world.
This is that world.
Yeah, it makes people shockingly naive.
It also makes them incredibly mean.
Incredibly mean. Turns them into kind of like sociopaths, really, if you get right down to it.
I mean, you can't lie to hurt someone's feelings. So you just tell them the truth.
You just tell them the truth.
Also, there's no religion until he accidentally creates it. Ricky Gervais accidentally creates it.
Yes, that's supposed to be the joke because Ricky Gervais, known atheist, creates religion in this movie.
I like this movie.
It's
this movie
funny.
Came out
I enjoyed it. I do enjoy it.
It came out in 2009, and when a person says romantic comedy, they probably don't think of a movie like this.
No.
But this movie is technically a romantic comedy.
It is. her stubby little noses and her Jennifer
She
Garner.
doesn't like his. She doesn't like his stubby little pig nose.
Stubby little pig nose. My favorite bit is when Windows 90, the Windows guy showed. I have a Facebook status which is referencing the Windows guy showing up at the end of this movie, which is such a dated reference. Nobody probably gets that.
I mean, my favorite is when you see the Coke commercial. He's like, drink Coke because it's been around a long time and it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, my favorite. That's my favorite bit is how he works for the advertising campaign. They can't lie, so they're just like, it's just a guy in a chair being like,
This is the thing. My favorite is when you see the boss and the advertisement on it is Pepsi for when there's no Coke.
When there's no Coke. My favorite character in that movie is his friend, played by Louis C.K., where he's like, I'm a Chinese. Really, I had no idea. It's just his like flat delivery.
Right.
It's so funny.
Or he's like. My name is Stanley. Oh, it's nice to meet you, Stanley. I didn't know that was your name all this time. And He keeps lying, and they just don't get it, like the blank. And yeah, it's a fun one. It's
funny to try to find a way to describe a concept that you have no word for. That's one of my. I said a thing that wasn't.
I don't. What do you? I don't understand. I said a thing that it just wasn't.
It just wasn't. Because they don't have a word for lying, they don't have a word for true. So you can't be like, it wasn't true.
Yeah. Like it just wasn't what was.
Right? That's funny.
It's very funny.
No, sorry, he doesn't work for advertising. He's a writer. Doesn't he write for TV?
He's a writer for film.
For film.
They have a reader or a narrator or whatever.
The films
sit in the chair and read.
In the chair reading a story.
Historical stories.
Yeah.
Historical true stories or something.
Because obviously fiction can. Although is fiction a lie? Fiction is a version of the truth.
It's a lie in this world.
I suppose. But yeah, and when you think about it though, is fiction a lie? I guess it kind of technically is a lie.
It's a lie because it's a thing that didn't happen. All they can talk about is things that actually happened. Like this world, and that's where it's fascinating because it constitutes creativity and imagination as a lie.
This is the one where it's his dad gets robbed, right? And it's Stephen Merchant, and he's like, I'm here to rob you now. Are you gonna rob me? Are you robbing me? Yeah, we're gonna sit here. I'm gonna wait for the police now. I'm gonna wait for the police to come back now. All right, then.
Well, you can't. You don't know my name. Oh, yeah. What's your name then? Oh, my name is Ben. Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. Well, you might as well come in then. Wait. Okay.
I'm gonna call the police. You might as well not leave.
Or I'll tell them your name, but you don't know my name. Well, what's your name then? Oh, my name is Bob. Oh, okay. Well, now I have your name, Bob. You want to come? You showed me your license. You want to just come in and have a tea while we wait for the police?
Stephen Merchant he's such an underrated comedian. He's so funny.
Yeah, all right then. The parts with Tina Fey where she's just like, where he's like, yeah, you're gonna get fired, and he's like, so I didn't bother taking the messages. He's like, well, I'm not fired yet, so maybe keep taking the messages, but you're gonna be fired. And he's like, well, you don't know that. He's like, no, but we do. He's like, no, you don't know that. No, but everyone knows it. You're going to get fired. Well, until I do, take the messages, but you're gonna get fired. Just do it.
Just do it, please.
Like just do it.
Just do it. Please.
So
everyone
funny.
into a massive prick.
Just, I mean, yeah, because you can't. It's essentially liar, liar. If everyone lied, this movie is reverse liar, liar.
Kinda, yeah. Well, in the sense that like they have no concept of. Yeah, I guess it is kind of reverse liar, liar because they have no concept of lying. So they have no concept.
And he's the one person who can lie.
I would argue though, that tax doesn't require you to lie.
Whereas in Liar Liar, he was the only one who couldn't lie.
This is true. Jordan,
just saying.
Is there anything you have further to say about
I see where Ricky Gervais got his inspiration.
Jordan, is there anything further you have to say about the invention of lying?
It had a budget of $18.5 million and had a box office of $32.7 million.
All right.
It's good. I like it. It was on Netflix. No reason not to watch it if you have Netflix.
That's one of those ones it's been on my radar. Something I've wanted to rewatch. That and Ghost Town. His movie Ghost Town. I really like Ghost Town.
That's fair.
That's one where
That's fair, right?
That's the one where he can see ghosts.
I mean, that makes sense with a name like Ghost
I
Town.
know.
That checks out.
It does. I figured it would.
Sources say that name fits.
Next year when we do ghosts again, ghosts for Halloween, maybe we'll watch
Ooh.
it. Oh no, Spooky Jordan. Spooky Jordan's come back. Jordan, it's out of season. Spooky Jordan, you're not you can't be here. You're out of season. You have to be Holly Jolly Jordan now.
But he can be here. You know why? Because Jordan says so.
Dang it, he's right. It's so out of season. Okay, Jordan, can we move on to the thing you've probably been waiting for me to talk about all week?
Oh, we can.
It's Jordan, it's time to talk about Dragon Ball Evolution. The thing I think you're expecting me to say was the thing I hated the most this week.
No, funny enough, I somehow figured that it was going to be a Sex in the City too.
It's Jordan. It is absolutely Sex in the City too.
But I believe this would be a close second.
It's on. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, so this requires a story and a little die. Okay, when you're eventually watching this on YouTube, you're gonna see a little video that's gonna play right about now. And if you hung out, that is me and Jordan's origin story. That is issue number 1. That is the very first time we made a video about a movie ever on the internet and posted it on the internet.
How old are we there, Justin?
We are. I'm 18, just about to graduate high school, and Jordan is 17.
I'm a baby.
Maybe if you guys want to see that video, because I'll probably just play all 9 minutes of it. You're gonna have to tune back in on the channel to see that video coming probably either this week or next week. I'm probably gonna work on it this week. You'll get to see it then. But yeah, we are 17 and 18-year-old children talking about Dragon Ball Evolution, and it's really funny because I very much remember viscerally hating that movie. And I remember like just tearing it to shreds in that video. And we didn't. We had a very fair-minded review. We were actually kind of way nicer to it than I remember. Also, we made a white supremacy joke that I don't recall even knowing what white supremacy was when I was 18. I was kind of proud of myself on that one.
It probably went over my head.
Here's the thing, okay? Number one. There's so much wrong with this movie. It's just a bad adaptation. Number one, it's a bad adaptation. And what's frustrating about it is it reeks of studio interference, of people being like, of a studio executive being like, the American audiences aren't gonna get this. You need to fix it, because there's parts in it that are very true to the source material, like Piccolo's backstory being from the stars and terrorizing towns, and the Mafuba being used to contain him. When he first meets Chi-Chi, it is a remarkably faithful recreation of the original scene. All of the problems with this stem from the fact that he's too old. He's too old, and he's just a regular guy who goes to a high school. Like, he's just this random white guy. Like, he's not Goku. He's nothing like Goku. He's not remotely anything like Goku. Apart from sharing a similar haircut and a name, they're remotely nothing alike. And the thing that's frustrating about this character and this movie is, it's fixable. And it's fixable in a way that you can still Americanize this and have it work. It's simple fixes, and you're going to say it now. What do you do to Goku, Jordan?
Well, for me, one thing is that I wanted to say, the thing that makes Goku in this frustrating is he's not Goku, he's Gohan. He's Teen Gohan. Teen Gohan goes to high school. Teen Gohan interacts with people.
I mean, even then, no, he's not, because he's got a big old crush on no, I mean, yes, I could see why you would say that, but even then, no. He's his own mangled version of nothing.
I mean, I would say he's a bad adaptation of Gohan, but he's still closer to an adaptation of Gohan than he is Goku.
And it's just funny because you, in the video, you refer to, you're like, oh, Ozaru is just a were monkey. To my response to that now is, technically speaking, Ozaru is always kind of just a weremonkey. In fact, if anything, he's more of a weremonkey in the original because it requires a moon to transform. Whereas in the Dragon Ball Evolution, it's the eclipse that causes him to turn back into Ozaru. So, like, if anything, he's more of a weremonkey in the original.
But I think my point, knowing myself, was more that he didn't look like a great ape.
Yeah,
he just looked like a werewolf
who was a monkey. Yes, yeah, I know.
who was a monkey.
That's the point you're kind of making. But still, I'm like, technically speaking. No, the simple solution to this, and if you, because again, I understand. Like I said with the Giver, I understand things now. I understand the need and desire and want to Americanize this, and I fully believe that it is fully possible to keep this more or less the same, and have it be Americanized. And the simple fix is you make Goku homeschooled. Done. Boom. Fixed. He's homeschooled. He's a little world naive. He's only ever spent time with his grandpa. He lives up with the grandpa. He doesn't go to public school. He doesn't have a crush on Chi Chi. He doesn't know Chi Chi. And yeah, have it where he's a homeschool. Do the scene where him and Bulma meet. And the rest of the movie largely plays out the same, because a lot in terms of adaptation, being all right adaptations are okay approximations of the characters. The rest of them are fine. Like I think Bulma is all right. She doesn't have like near the same spunk as Bulma does, but that's because Goku is dried cardboard. Like every bad thing in this movie all ties back to whatever the fuck they did with Goku. So
I remember hating that she has a single blue strand.
Yeah, apart from the fact that she doesn't have blue, but like now I get that just wouldn't work in a live. Her having neon blue hair just isn't gonna work in a live action. It would look ridiculous.
I don't think so much now that's my issue. My issue is that the blue strand of hair is stupid. Just get rid of it.
Just get rid of it. Yeah, she didn't need to be
like. Just give her normal hair.
Just give her
kind
normal
of more
hair. Yeah.
My complaint now as an adult.
And like Master Roshi. Apart from another thing with this movie.
Or like if you want to give her something neon blue to reference back to the hair, give her a scrunchie.
Yeah, or something.
Or like make it where she has like a beanie that she wears, or like
something. But like Yamcha, for example, Yamcha in this movie is so good. Not good, like no one's good in this movie, but like in terms of like adaptationally, he's not bad. Like he does a fairly decent representation, apart from the fact that there's no Puar, but he does a very decent interpretation of like he starts off cool, but like becomes lame as the story goes on. Like he's a real good adaptation of Dragon Ball Yamcha. Like an adaptation, like he's not 1-to-1, but in terms of adaptation, he's not bad. He's getting the idea of Yamcha.
It needed a dumb sidekick Krillin.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You make him what I would do is you make him homeschooled. You cut out all this shit with the high school. Get rid of the high school bullies. Get rid of all that bullshit and have it where he meets Chi-Chi later. Like you can still have Chi-Chi later, where he meets her at the monastery or whatever that they eventually go to. Like you can meet her there and they connect there, but have it where he goes, they go to
I mean, have it be where we're at the monastery, there's the tournament or whatever, all the things that they were fighting there, and they meet at the tournament.
Right, but what I would do is I would have it though as a reference to Master Roshi training them. I would have it where when they show up to Master Roshi, Krillin is already there and he's like his student, and make it like a real shit. But like Master Roshi is another example of he's not a bad in terms of an American idea of what Master Roshi is. It works. Like it doesn't not work. They're all reasonable approximations of an idea of what the original character is. It's not with work and with like a few tweaks. It can be fixed. Another thing that drives me just absolutely crazy about this movie is the pronunciations. They call Shenron Shenlong, which is like, yeah, okay, technically speaking, that's his name in Japan, right? That's what his name is romanized in Japan. It's Shenron in when it translates, but like when you take it literally, yes, it's Shenlong, but it's like just say Shenron. Like your American audiences know his name is Shenron. Just call him Shenron, or like when Master Roshi introduces himself as Muten Roshi. like as if Mutin is his first name, and it's like, no, so your name is Master Roshi? It's literally Master Roshi? Like, it's dumb. It's so dumb. It feels like someone took a once over of like an outline of Dragon Ball and got like passable surface level details correct. Like they call Piccolo a Namek, for example. So it's like clearly someone involved in this knows something about Dragon Ball. But it's also made particularly frustrating because when I was reading about this, it said that James Masters was a massive Dragon Ball Z fan. And he used to watch it with his daughter. And I'm like, that can't be true. Or did you not have enough power on set to be like, yeah, that's not how you pronounce that? Like, it just feels like something that could have been fixed on the day. Where you're like, hey man, that's not how you pronounce that.
Yeah, there's been a few movies that are like that though. Avatar being one of them, where it's like it feels like someone on set could have just watched the cartoon for a day and been
the Avatar,
it's Aang, not Ong.
Avatar is particularly, that was frustrating because he also said that he watched the show and I'm like, that cannot be true.
No, because they got way too many of the names wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You got too many of the names wrong for that to be true. It's a frustrating movie for me because I'm like, I understand its inclinations and I understand its want because okay, another big thing with it is it wants to be, oh, this movie takes place in the real world. And then the Dragon Ball stuff is magic on top of it. But the Dragon Ball world is not Earth. It's Dragon World. It's a different planet. It's a different world. So their world is weird and magical. So trying to make it real just makes it not work.
Yeah. Their world has talking dinosaurs and talking dog people. Like the Dragon Ball world is not it's their version of Earth. They do call it Earth, but it's not Earth.
Right, it's not Earth. And so it's like the thing with
it's not
movie,
our
so
Earth.
I fully understand the desire and the want.
It's a Earth. It's not our Earth.
Exactly. And like I understand your desire. It's the same thing with the Death Note movie, right? Where I understand Hollywood's desire to Americanize this. I fully get it. Like as a person, we've watched enough movies. We understand how Hollywood works at this point, right? I get it. But there's better ways to do it. And all, again, this simple fix, you make Goku homeschooled and you cut out the high school. Like, you cut out the high school is just there to facilitate his love interest with Chi-Chi. But there's a billion other ways to do. This feels like it needed at least one more Passover on the script. And that would have cut out Goku as a high school
student. As an adult, what I'll say about this movie, having not watched it in years, it's fixable.
Right.
It's not an unfixable movie.
And I'm not even of the opinion, like, I don't need Goku to be a child. I don't think Goku needs to be a child for this narrative to work. I think he can be a teenager like he is.
I think you could have had him, you could have him be 15, 16, and you can make it work.
Yeah, I really can. But it's everything that makes him awful is the fact that he goes to high school.
The important thing about Goku is the naivete and the shelteredness from the world. And one way to circumvent that and have him still be older is to have high school or homeschooling be a thing.
Yeah.
But that's where I say at that point, and even in this movie, I know you say that he doesn't, but he really does feel like teen Gohan to me.
But he doesn't.
Where like if you but he does because he's the high school goer. Yeah, the high school goer.
Gohan still has an air of hillbilly mountain people energy.
Yes, he does because he went through homeschooling. So what you're describing about fixing with Goku to make him work for this basically just turns him into Gohan.
I mean,
where he's been homeschooled all this time and then he goes out into the world and he meets people for the first time. That's Gohan when he goes to high school. Yeah,
but the difference being is this would be Grandpa Gohan versus Chi-Chi. It would be the difference. It would be Chi-Chi, the upbringing, and in terms of the rewrite, it's all it functions to do is in terms of the rewrite. You're thinking too much. You're kind of thinking a tad too much about it. It's just for the purposes of that way you keep Justin Chatwin. Like, I think you can keep Justin Chatwin. I don't think you need to recast for this rewrite. It's literally one rewrite that I would do, and I would leave the cast the same. I would leave it all the same. That one rewrite, every issue with Goku in terms of its characterization would be fixed by that. What you're talking about in terms of Teen Gohan is, yeah, it's not the same. And to be fair, in this movie as he's presented, he's not Teen Gohan. He's just a regular teenager. Every issue with this movie is just the fact that he's a regular teenager, and that's just not Goku. But that's also not Gohan. Gohan's not a regular teenager.
Yeah, but I would argue that he's closer to this character than Goku
Oh
is.
God, no! Having just watched it this morning, not even remotely close.
I would.
No.
Like when I say Teen Gohan, I'm talking the filler saga where like
No.
we see him playing baseball and he's in the
there's
school.
still a level of like innocence and
that's closer to this Goku than Goku ever was.
Oh, I mean, okay, closer, sure, but not close. Like if you want to say closer, yeah, okay. If we're talking a football field, it's a yard in. Yeah, all right. But other than that, no, they are nothing alike. They're not even.
I mean, I would more have described it like in terms of sports. This Goku and Gohan are both football players. This Goku and any version of Goku, normal Goku is like a hockey player, and this one is a football player.
If you prefer, this
so
is
like,
on the bench.
Yes, like Gohan is a different player, but he's still playing the same sport.
I would maybe if you want to use a sports metaphor or analogy, I would say it's more like if we're talking hockey. Goku is on the bench and Gohan is on the ice. That's maybe how I would put it. I guess maybe it's in terms of the only similarity they bear is that they both go to high school. That's about it.
They're both teenagers.
And they're teenagers. That's about it. They go to high school and they're teenagers. That's it. There's nothing alike beyond that. And their upbringing and background are completely different.
Yeah, but he's also not like Goku. Is the point?
The whole point though is he doesn't go to public school
at all.
At all. That all of the issues, all of his behavioral problems that everyone takes issue with, the fact that he's a dick, the fact that he's all that stuff, all stems from the fact that he goes to high school. Like that's it.
But I will say, I'm not like you. I would recast. I think he's a terrible Goku.
Well, the purpose of this is to just fix it. It's not to. If I'm gonna rebuild it, I'm gonna completely rebuild it. What you're talking about?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not necessarily gonna recast everyone else. For me, he needs to fix it. He needs to be replaced. He's a bad Goku.
Yeah, the thing is though, having just watched it this morning, he's not. He is not the issue with that movie. None of the actors in that movie are the issue with that movie. The direction is not the issue with that movie. It's purely the writing. It's all in the writing, and it could absolutely.
I disagree.
It could absolutely be fixed in the writing. Like everyone's issues with that movie is.
I think the rest of it, you're right. I think he's a bad Goku.
Again.
I always thought he was a bad Goku.
That has everything to do with the writing. It's not a performance thing. It's not.
It's not helped by the writing. You're right, but no, with that actor specifically, I think he's a bad Goku.
No, he's not though. He would be again. The performance is not bad. Like he does an okay. Like he does an okay for the stuff that matters. He's doing fine. Maybe he's not great in terms of the physical, like the fighting. Okay, I will concede that the fighting's not great. Like maybe you get a better, more qualified fighter. But I think with a rewrite, this movie would have been he would have been fine. No one would have.
Yeah. Respectfully, I disagree.
You have this tendency to conflate performance with writing, in your criticism, and I believe that no, that's just not you wouldn't have an issue with it if the writing were fixed. Again, it's not him, and also you're coming from a place of having not seen it in 20 years. He's not the problem with that movie. Ultimately.
I mean, unfortunately, we'll never know. Never know.
I mean, in the future episode when I make you rewatch it.
No, I mean whether or not he could have done a good job.
I mean, hey, he apologized for his performance, so he's on your side. So. I don't think he has anything to apologize for. I think that the writing, but also to end this, you can thank the fact that Dragon Ball is still around for this movie, because the reason why, okay, well he says it one way, but I believe it's another. Battle of Gods is distributed by 20th Century Fox. and that's because they had a contract with Toei to make movies. I think it was to make 3 movies, certainly more than one. And this performed terribly and did badly, and Akira Toriyama hated it. Well, he initially liked it because he saw it as a different interpretation of his characters, but he eventually saw how much people hated it, and so he made Battle of Gods as a direct response to this movie. So if you like Battle of Gods, you could thank this movie for that.
Interesting.
But that's why Battle of Gods has that 20th Century Fox tag on it, is because they I believe they distributed it in the States.
Very, very interesting.
Which is very odd. So Dragon Ball Daima, if you like Dragon Ball Super, you all could thank Dragon Ball Evolution for that, because that movie doing badly is the reason why Battle of Gods exists.
So,
oh, another fun fact, James Masters, who plays Piccolo, he is the voice of Zamasu, which he did uncredited as an apology for this movie. Wait, did you not know that?
No.
Yeah, he got tired of people saying how much they hated it. Well, he was really excited for this because he was allegedly a big fan, and he showed up to a theater with his kid to watch it, and he saw how upset people were, and he got tired of like apologizing for it. So as a way to like make it up to them, he plays Zamasu, and then he didn't credit himself. I can't remember what he's credited as, but he's credited as a different person. And he wanted anyone to know. Yeah. So he said so that way, when people brought it up, he could be like, "Hey, yeah, well, I'm Zamasu," and just be like discreet about it. But then it somehow got out.
That's awesome.
That's it. That's all my have scenes.
So my final have scene is a movie called Ninja Assassin.
Oh, that movie's good.
I enjoy this movie. It is violent.
That movie is good bad.
It's good bad.
It's good bad. It's bad. It's bad movie. It's a very bad movie. It's nonsensical. The acting is bad. The performances are bad. But it's absurdly violent in a cartoonish fashion.
It's not meant to be like amazing. I don't think. I think it's just it's hurtcore. Like it's fun because of the violence.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like Immortals. It's like one of those movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is the one where he tries to stab the fat guy in the bathroom and he just refuses to go down.
Oh, that tickled. Yeah, no.
This is also a fun movie.
It's a fun kung fu movie or martial arts or whatever.
It taught me how to. For whatever reason, I never considered how people did tattoos like back in olden times. And that movie, it starts with them doing like tattoos the old-fashioned way. I was like, oh, is that how they used to do them in olden days? Oh, that makes sense.
With needles.
With needles, yeah. I was like, oh yeah, you gotta bang it into your skin. Ah, that looks painful.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not painful now with the way things do. Like it still can be quite painful, but it's a different kind of pain.
It's a different kind of painful. And also, yeah, it's that kind of movie that makes ninjas seem way cooler than they were.
I mean, ninjas were cool.
No,
you shut your whore mouth.
They apparently weren't like capable of blending into things and just otherwise turning utterly invisible.
I mean, this version, the versions in this version are almost like magic,
right?
When it comes to their like they're in the shadows and they just disappear. Like no, they're not like literally magic, but they seem like they are. Also, interesting. On November 5th, 2009, Warner Brothers Entertainment released the video game application based on the film for the iPhone device.
Huh.
So at one point, I guess maybe there was going to be a video game for the iPhone.
All right.
I don't know how that would have worked, but that's interesting.
I mean, the video game version of this is just Ninja Gaiden.
Except more violent.
No, Ninja Gaiden's an M-rated game. It's already pretty violent.
This game would be like if you took God of War and combined it with ninjas.
That's pretty much what Ninja Gaiden is.
But it's fun. It's fun. It's not complicated.
No.
Cold Notes version. I think police or newspaper people or something.
Yeah, newspaper people.
They're looking into people, and then they find out about the ninjas, and
And the ninjas are
then
like, we don't want you to find out about us. We're gonna kill you all.
and then there's the main guy who was a member of the assassin group, but then he leaves, and then they're not too happy about that, and he helps take them down because they kidnap kids and train them to be assassin ninjas.
It's a whole thing.
It's really just a glorified excuse to see a bunch of ninja weapons killing people.
Slice and dice people like they're cardboard.
It's fun. It's a good time. I recommend it.
Highly
That's
recommend.
Ninja Assassin.
Ninja Assassin. Okay, so I guess we're doing have not scenes now.
We are.
Let's see. Where do I want to begin? You know what? Let's do Mulan. Let's do Mulan. Mulan 2.
Mulan 2!
Which was the least bad, ironically, out of the ones I watched.
Still pretty bad.
It's not very good. It's just like many of those straight to DVD Disney. I don't know. I will say it feels like a movie. I will give it that. It doesn't feel like it was 5 episodes like strewn together to make a movie. It definitely feels like a movie. It makes Mushu look like an absolute asshole. He just sucks. No, I guess the plot of it is, takes place after the first movie, and Mulan and Sean, whatever, they're not getting married. Everyone wants them to get married, and they have to. They're given the task to escort the Emperor's 3 daughters, the 3 princesses, along with the 3 guys from the first movie whose names escape me, and
Wing, Ping, and Wow.
Is that their actual names?
I have no idea.
Wing, Ping, and Wow. And in the meantime, Mushu is positioned as Mulan's guardian spirit has been threatened by the fact that when she gets married to Shen, she will inherit all of his family guardians, and they're all happy about that because he's been acting like a real prick. And so Mushu is trying to get Shen and Mulan to break up so that he can remain Mulan's family guardian. And then it's just a bunch of kind of dull interpersonal drama for about an hour, and eventually the Huns show up for a really boring and, quite frankly, unnecessary action sequence that doesn't really do anything and is very threatening. There's like 3 guys and they pretty easily beat them. And the whole thing is each of the princesses is basically the girl version of one of the guys, and they all pair up and they fall in love.
Because they don't want to be just princesses who have to wear the pointy shoes.
No, some of them do. Some of them do want to be that, but not for the princes they're betrothed to.
Part of your Broadway World podcast says, "Hey, I love Mulan too." Shang is his name, by the way.
Shang,
lol.
That's it. Okay.
Or Shang. I
mean, it's a Disney. It's exactly what I thought it was gonna be. It's all right. It's not. None of the music is particularly interesting. I think they're the one. There's the one song which is in the ending credits, which was all right. They pretty much just.
I like the song "I Want to Be Like Other Girls."
That's the one.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's the one. I want to be like other girls.
I want to be like other girls.
Yeah, that's the one. It's better than live. Yeah, but live action Mulan was. It was bad. It was really bad. It's a low bar. It's a real low bar. But also, it's like, it's just not exceptional. But it's a straight to DVD movie. It's not going to be exceptional. Or when they just straight up do a girl worth fighting for again. Yeah, it's not very. It's cheap looking. I was impressed by exactly how many of the original voice cast came back because they all sound like they're phoning it in.
They did not get Eddie Murphy back.
They did not get Eddie Murphy. It's funny because every big name always has a it was garbage. Every big name guy they get they have a person who plays them professionally. So this is the guy who plays Eddie Murphy, and he shows up in Kingdom Hearts. He's also in Kingdom Hearts. But it's funny because you got fooled by one in weeks previous when we talked about Goosebumps 2, where they have Mark Wingert, who is Jack Black professionally.
Yeah, the Jack Black one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no, that's not Jack Black. That's why I'm like, it's not the original Slap because it's not Jack Black. Anyway, that's another aside. Yeah, I don't have much to. I don't have. It's in a. I would say of the. One day I want to do a direct. Maybe we'll do a direct to Disney DVD special.
Yeah, one of these days you got to watch Cinderella 3.
Cinderella 3 and 2.
You're lucky I didn't make you watch that for this.
There's a bunch of Disney stuff I want to do. I want to do Disney Channel original movies. DCOM. I want to do a DCOM special. But yeah, it's inoffensive and it's not good, but it's also not. I didn't think it was terrible. Like there wasn't anything that like majorly contradicted the last one, apart from the fact again that Mushu's a massive prick the whole time.
Yeah, but he's always kind of a dick.
Yeah. It just kind of made me go, yeah, I kind of want to rewatch the first one. I will say that. Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
Who's challenging us?
You.
Oh, me. My favorite one of them is always going to be Lion King 2. I love Lion King 2.
I love Lion King 2.
Despite the fact that it's not very good, I like that movie.
I love a good Hamlet.
Right? That's technically Romeo and Juliet. Hamlet's the first one.
I stand by what I said.
Up to and including his ghost. Anyway, that's Mulan 2.
Mulan 2.
Gotta pave way for Sex in the City 2.
So, my first have not seen is called Time Trap, which it's funny because as I was watching this, I was like, I think I've seen this.
How is that possible?
It came out in 2017.
Why would you have watched it?
I don't know, but the story felt familiar.
Are you sure it's just because it's not really cliched and you've seen it in 1,000 other movies?
I mean, that is entirely possible. It is 100% a chance that is the truth. But this movie, basically, the kids are looking for. They're in a remote area of Texas looking for their missing professor, and they go into this cave. And then, basically, when they're in the cave, time like the light, the sun keeps passing by overhead, and so like it's this whole mystery as the movie goes on, where they're like, because there's the one kid that they left outside, and they lose communication with him, and then they find him in the cave with a tape of like what he was doing on the outside, and like while he was on the outside a bunch of time passed, but while they were on the inside it had only been like an hour, but for him it had been like days and days on the video. And so you find out that each time the sun passes over top, that's the summer solstice. And they're seeing years pass outside. And it's this whole mystery of like, they're in this cave, they end up finding their professor in there, and by the time they get out of the cave, at a certain point, like this guy in a like essentially a spacesuit comes down into the cave, and he speaks like this different language, and by the time, spoiler alert, by the time the end of the movie hits, also, I guess at the center of this cave, and the reason why the time distortion is happening is it's a defense system to protect it, but I guess there's water in there, which is essentially the fountain of youth.
All right.
So, like, if you submerge in it, you revive and stuff. Anyways, a long story short, by the time you get to the end of the movie, the family and stuff wake up in this water, and they're on a space station, and it's been like many years since they first went in the cave, and the rest of them are all like, yeah, we're kind of famous around here now. We have a lot to fill you guys in on. And like, yeah, you see they're on a spaceship, and it's all futuristic and scientific and stuff.
So this whole movie takes place in a cave?
Yeah, in the cave in like the middle of the desert.
It sounds kind of boring.
It was.
It was. This just sounds like an overly elongated episode of Black Mirror that sounds really boring.
I mean, it had interesting ideas, and the acting wasn't terrible, but yeah, it felt long. I mean, it's only like an hour and a half.
Oh,
but
that's the worst. Nothing worse than when like an hour, 20-minute movie feels like it's like 3 hours long. You're like, oh my god, it's only been going on for... Troll in Central Park felt like that.
Well, I will say, like, I didn't feel bored necessarily, but also it didn't pass the phone test, so maybe I did. You know.
When it doesn't pass the phone test, that's how you know you're bored.
Um. Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Who's in it? Does anyone I know?
Probably not. Where's the cast list? Uh, Brienne Howie as Jackie.
No.
Andrew Wilson as Hopper.
Never heard of him.
Cassidy Gifford as Kara.
No clue.
Riley McClendon as Taylor.
Who's that?
Olivia Dragusevich as Vives.
I mean, I'll never know. You can't pronounce her name.
Max Wright as Furby.
Who's that guy?
Hans Marrero as the Guardian.
Don't know who that is.
Rich Skidmore as Rich Pentaro.
Sorry, did you say his last name is Skidmore?
Rich Skidmore.
There's no way he didn't go through life being called Skidmark, right?
I mean, or Skid.
Or Skid. I mean, Skidmark is grosser.
Chris Sturgeon as Hopper's dad. If you don't know what a
Skidmark is, you don't Google it.
I know, I know what it is. Sophie Marie Lusitana as Guardian Girl. And that's everyone.
All right. I don't know who any of those people are. I can't believe you read that whole list. You could have stopped at any time, but you chose to read the whole list. That's commitment.
Co-director Mark Dennis cited 1980s films such as the Indiana Jones films and the Goonies as an inspiration. I can see that. I absolutely feel those influences.
I mean, based upon its description, I mean, it would involve them going to more than one location.
More just the vibe is more what I mean.
No, fair enough. It's got that old 80s adventure style kind of vibe to it.
Yeah. But also the Goonie, because like the one kid that stayed up top, it was like 13 years old. One of the girls is supposed to be like 13, fair. And the other are I think like teenagers. So like it's like I wouldn't call it a coming of age, but
fair.
Younger kids in it. Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Do you have anything further to say? Talk about? Bring up?
Nah.
Mention? Shall we get to the moment you've been waiting for? Sex and the City 2?
Yeah, and then we'll have my last one.
Oh, you've got one more. Oh, right. Okay. Right. I'm like, oh, last one, and then I'm done, and then we're done. End of show. Right. I forgot we're out of order this week.
No, you screwed everything up and mixed up the order. You shook things up here.
I did. I shook things up. Okay. So.
Get talking, bitch.
Sex and the City 2. It's funny. Earlier in the podcast, I mentioned how I'm gonna smush all of the movies into one. I might not, depending on how much we talk about Sex and the City 2. Here's the thing about Sex and the City 2. Okay.
Is it worse than Sex and the City 1?
That's gonna be the question. That's the title of the YouTube video, Jordan. Is Sex and the City 2 worse than Sex and the City 1? And I maintain every criticism I said about the first one, right? They're all awful people. None of this is relatable. At one point, Charlotte gets upset because her child smacks her on the butt with like dirty hands and like gets gross shit all over her very expensive clothes that she shouldn't be wearing around a 3-year-old. Like, I'm like, who? Or like one of the lines is, I do it with help, and I'm like, I don't. Who finds this relatable? I don't understand. But then again, I don't have kids and I'm not a woman.
Yeah, you're not a mother.
So for most of this, for the first, I'd say 15.
That's where if the joke fits, you should have said, "Well, hey, neither are they."
Neither are they. No. Some of them are. Half of the cast are moms in that movie.
But are they moms or are they moms?
I mean, they have kids. It's part of the plot of this movie.
Right. But are they bad moms? Is the joke?
We'll get there. No, fundamentally. So okay. Let me continue my introduction to this. So, for the first, I'd say 15, 20 minutes of this movie, I was like, this is relative quality to the first one. It's equally as bad. I don't get it. This is just as bad as the first one. Like, I think I posted a clip of Liza Minnelli badly singing Single Ladies in a scene that goes on for a fucking eternity. It was so... I'm like, is the joke that she's singing it badly? I don't get it. Do people think she's singing this song well? I don't and there's like 3 shots of Kim Cattrall doing the dance, and it just kind of looks like they filmed her singing
all
this.
Single ladies.
No, it's like that.
All the single ladies. All the single
That
ladies.
one. Just
Put
for
your
like,
hands up.
it just
Put
keeps
your
cutting
hands up.
back to her doing the one dance move. And it just goes on forever. It just feels like they just let Liza Minnelli perform this song and then just filmed it. Like, and then just put the whole thing without cutting any of it in the movie. No, okay, number one, this movie's too fucking long. I said that about the first one. It's even more true here. This movie could have been an hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours long, and you wouldn't have missed a goddamn thing. So anyway, so for the first 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, I'm like, it's more or less the same as the first one. And I'm reading Wikipedia, and it's saying it's one of the worst movies of all time, and like everyone hates it, and there's just these really cruel things that are being said about it. And I'm like, I don't get it. This seems like the same. And then the characters go to Abu Dhabi. And it's like, oh. And then the back half of the movie takes place in Abu Dhabi. And it's like, oh. Oh, it's racist. Oh, that's why. Oh, the characters are saying a bunch of racism. Oh yeah, this might be worse than the first one, on that metric alone. Like the characters individually say so much racism. It's really Islamophobic, shockingly Islamophobic. That having been said, I think personally, Islamophobia and racism aside, I actually liked it better than the first one. I know. Everyone kept trying to convince me it was worse, and like, yeah, maybe fundamentally it probably is worse, right? But there are scenes in this that I enjoyed so much more, that I thought were 1,000 times more interesting, that are buried under layers of crap. Like, there's a really interesting subplot.
So out of context, that might be a funny clip where it's like, yeah, this movie is really Islamophobic and it's horribly racist, and I like it more.
No, I don't like it because it's Islamophobic. There are elements of it I enjoyed more than the first one. Like,
that's just where I say out of context, it sounds funny.
Like Charlotte has this subplot about how she's overwhelmed with the kids, and how the one kid is like attached to her at the hip and won't leave her alone. And the big conflict in the movie is Big and Carey have been married for 2 years, and they've kind of settled into like domestic life, and she's insecure about the fact that she's worried about becoming like a boring married couple, and he just wants to hang out at home and watch TV and sit on the couch, and he doesn't want to go out every night. And like, she essentially bullies him into going out, and he goes out and starts to have fun, and then she gets mad and drags him away. And then he's like, what do you want? I do the thing you want, you get upset. I don't do the thing you want, you get upset. Like, what do you want? And she like leaves to go, because she still has her old apartment from the first movie. So she goes to stay there for a couple days to like write. And now that they've had that break apart, they want to be together. And he suggests, oh, well, what if we take those 2 days apart and one of us stays at the apartment, and she's like, well, that hurts my feelings. And Charlotte's like, well, if you're married, shouldn't you be around your wife or husband like all the time? Like, doesn't that hurt your feelings? And over the course of the movie, she starts to like, because they're in Abu Dhabi on vacation, she starts to relax and is like, oh, now that I've had some time off and I've slept for 12 hours, I can see that like having my own identity apart from my family is healthy, and that like you shouldn't be attached to a person every single moment of the day. And in order to achieve individual identity, you need moments where you can have introspection, like, which is like, yeah.
So she gets common sense.
Right, exactly. Where it's like, yeah, man, you don't need to be with your husband, like, at least as far as I'm concerned, every single day. Like, yeah, maybe you should have your own individual hobbies. I don't know. I'm naive. I'm not married, but maybe you should have your own individual hobbies that don't involve your husband or wife or kids. Like, do your own thing, have your own friends. Like, that seems important to sustain a healthy relationship. But then again, I'm not in one. What do I know?
I'm no expert. I can't judge.
I can't judge. And so yeah, there's a bunch of the movie involves them being in Abu Dhabi, and Samantha is now.
I'm no expert, but I will say, even just in a normal dynamic of between two people, if I had to spend
Oh, I'd kill
24/7
you.
around you,
I'd kill you.
I'd kill
I'd
you.
kill you.
I'd kill you, and I'd make it look like an accident because
Absolutely.
you would long have driven me
Oh
crazy.
no, absolutely. I would have thoroughly strangled you to death. No, it's true. It's true. It's absolutely true. I cannot deny that.
Like
You need moments apart.
I like you, but I need to be away from you every now
Right,
and then.
exactly, right, and it's just so bizarre because it's like people who are see, in my opinion, people who seem to be way too old to be learning this lesson. I don't know. And then another part of it is the only one who doesn't have any conflict in this movie is Miranda. She has like no conflict other than, oh, sorry, that's not true. Her one conflict is her boss is played by Ron White and is a prick who like she describes him as he does this when she's
Oh, that's the
speaking.
worst.
Yeah. When she's speaking, and so she ends up quitting, and so she's on this big. The whole thing sort of culminates in, and this is why I enjoyed this movie more because in the last one, every character in that movie is miserable. Like every one of them, with the exception of Charlotte, is utterly miserable for most of that movie. They're just unpleasant, or they're complaining about stuff that are dumb. Whereas in this one, like they're all happy and like having a good time, and the conflicts are like small and minute, and like they're not really that big a deal, and they're talked about, and they're discussed. And like my favorite scene in this movie is Miranda and Charlotte are like at a bar together, and Miranda's like, I could tell you're about to crack. I'm also a mom. I see you. I see what you're going through. You need to complain, basically. You need to take a moment and you need to complain. And she goes, my son drives me crazy sometimes. I love him, but sometimes he drives me crazy. Your turn, please. And it's a really, I love moments of that. Like I've got really good friends. I've got friends who it's like, I appreciate when you're honest and you don't pretend like having kids is always awesome. Like that, I respect that. I respect that level of vulnerability. And that, to me, that stuff was interesting. The characters are having fun in this movie, and it's way more. It seems seem to be having way more fun.
So what you're saying is this movie makes you want to go back and watch more of the show.
Absolutely not. No, I'd rather fucking die. Um,
So next week we'll come back and you'll tell us about the first 10 episodes of the show. Got it.
Absolutely fucking not. The one character who bothers me the most though is I've discovered I can't stand Samantha. I can't stand her.
That's the redhead?
No, Samantha's the other blonde one.
Oh, the slut.
Yes, the slut. Yes, and that's her whole bit. That's her whole bit in this movie is she's now 50. She's going through menopause, and she can no longer have the same.
Okay. I feel it important to clarify. That's not me being offensive. That's what I know of the show. She's supposed to be that archetype.
I believe she describes herself as such at some point. Like I don't understand why or how these four women are friends. They seemingly have very little and to be fair, maybe if I watched however many seasons of the show I would get it, but they seemingly have nothing in common. They're drastically different people. Like there's a scene, there's so many more scenes of Samantha just having loud sex. Like there's like two of them. And like there's one where it's like she's having really loud sex in the other room while they're like kids in the next room. And I'm like, why are you friends with this awful woman? Like, I don't get it. Like, and then later on, they're in Abu Dhabi.
I mean, knowing what I know of how shows are written, I imagine that it's the archetype of, oh, she's the friend that gets to have like in How I Met Your Mother, Barney.
She's Barney, I
Like
guess.
she's their Barney, where it's like you get to go and do all the things that I don't have the confidence to do, and I could never do that. That's crazy.
But her whole story arc in this movie, or her character arc in this movie, is like she's trying not to be old, but the movie doesn't like end with her. Like there's a point in the movie where she's at this premiere and she's wearing a dress that's weight, or they characterize. I don't see whatever, but they characterize it as way too young for her. And then Miley Cyrus shows up, and like they're wearing the same dress, and like they like kind of hug each other, and like girl power or whatever. But like they go to Abu Dhabi, right? She gets invited to Abu Dhabi to help promote something. And the whole thing with Abu Dhabi is, at least as far as this movie is concerned, it has modesty laws. So you can't kiss in public. You can't do anything sexual in public. You have to dress modestly. All sorts of stuff. And so she keeps getting in trouble because she keeps doing lewd acts in public, and she keeps nearly getting them arrested or deported. So like at one point she makes out with a guy. She constantly wears like revealing outfits. And the whole thing is she gets to Abu Dhabi. She has all these pills and drugs that she's taking to keep her off of menopause. And like they get confiscated. So she's slowly starting to go through menopause through the while trying to like so at the end of the movie it ends with her getting all of her drugs back. So it's like she doesn't like learn the lesson that she needs to like accept her age and like accept that she's aging gracefully and age as a no, she doesn't really go through a significant character arc, and then the character never comes back. Like they did a follow-up sequel show where every other character comes back except for her in like one scene where her and Carey talk to each other off camera over the phone.
I think I remember you mentioning that last review.
Apparently, they were gonna do a third movie, and Kim Cattrall didn't want to do it because it involved there's two parts to this. I don't remember, but the one part of it was it involved the 14-year-old Miranda's son sexting, sending nude photos of his junk to Samantha, and she felt uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, that crosses a line for sure.
Overall, like again. I understand why people went this one's worse than the first one. It is agonizingly long. Scenes go on forever. There's a second musical number towards the middle where they sing I Am Woman that just goes on for a fucking eternity. It feels unnecessary. Yeah, but I just don't think it's worth. Overall, I enjoyed it more than the first one. The first one I hated so thoroughly. This one I didn't hate nearly as much. I don't know.
Maybe you're just burnt out.
Maybe, but I enjoyed the characters way more in this than I did in the last one. The last one was just a parade of misery and just awful.
Or maybe I'm going to come home from work one day and secretly find you watching Sex in the City, and you're going to be like,
absolutely not,
Jordan. I love it now.
I do not have enough hours in a week to subject myself to that. No, absolutely not. I do recognize it's a bad movie. I do. I just don't think it's worse than the first one. I don't. Overall, I don't think it's worse than the first one.
Methinks he doth protest too much.
No, I am absolutely never going to watch Sex in the City. You will be. You will be watching one or both of these movies in the future. All 2.5 hours of them.
I decline. I declined your kind offer.
You don't get to decline. You will not get to decline.
It's gonna be a hard pass from Jordan.
The only part of it, there's another part of it where you get to see Alice Eve. Alice Eve is very pretty. She plays the Irish nanny. She's very pretty. I enjoyed her performance in this movie. That's all I will say. It's a bad movie, Jordan. That's it. That's it for this week. That's it. Next week I get my agency back.
So okay, I guess we'll finish off with me, and I mean, I chose this because it looked funny, but I also chose it because I also share what this title states: the unbearable weight of massive talent.
The unbearable weight of isn't our massive talent so unbearable, Jordan? The weight
it's of it, unbearable.
I cannot handle
the weight
it.
of my massive talent. It's just it's heavy.
See,
it's a heavy weight.
That movie is very fun, and Nicolas Cage is very good in it. But I feel like Pedro Pascal doesn't get enough credit for that movie. He's so good in that movie.
He is quite good, but Nicolas Cage is Nick Cage.
He's Nick fucking Cage.
He plays a fictionalized version of himself.
Two fictionalized versions of himself.
Technically, yes. And it's silly. Basically, he ends up going and he's struggling with his career. He's been passed over for major roles. His family life is rough.
His family fucking hates him.
Pretty typical for a movie like this. The stereotype of a father. And Pedro Pascal's character basically wants to hang out with him and pays him $1 million to do so. And then from there, it's a silly romp. It's a romp, Justin.
It's a wild romp. It's a wild romp of a time where they get into shenanigans. It turns out that maybe Pedro Pascal's not that bad a guy.
Like, Justin, you're over analyzing it. It's a romp,
It's an
okay?
absolute romp of a time. No, my favorite scenes are the ones where it's young Nicolas Cage and old Nicolas Cage interacting. Those are fun to me.
I love the part where they're at, where he's like, "We're just gonna take a little bit of LSD, and then we're gonna brainstorm this movie idea." And then it's them driving through town as they're on LSD, and they're sitting on the bench, and he's like, "Those guys are watching us. Are they watching us? I don't know. Are they? They could be." And they're freaking out as they run away. And oh, it's a funny movie. It's a very funny movie. You can tell that Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal, like they are just having a blast, it comes across.
Oh, for sure. It's one of those ones where like, Nicolas Cage is like, you could I think I read about him talking about where he's like initially he was like, no, it feels egotistical, and I think they had to like talk him into it, and I'm glad they did.
Yeah, they did. They had to talk him into it.
They should do a sequel though, where it's like I should say they should do a run of these like almost anthology style, where it's different actors just playing themselves.
I mean,
I would totally
that would be funny, but it would also be disappointing because we can't have Robin Williams do it.
I mean, yeah, but also like, would this work for? Would this work
The only other actor that I kind of I see in this role is Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I don't know if there's another. The only other one I would have maybe said is as well as Bruce Willis as well. But not anymore. You can't do it anymore, with the dementia. But back in the day, old school, like mid 2000s, Bruce Willis.
I could see Jim Carrey because I know we've picked on him a lot, but he's got that egotistical side, right?
Self-reflective enough.
Which fits into the character's egotistical, like.
I've heard people say that we don't the movie star and the Nicolas Cages, they don't really exist anymore, and I just don't know if this works with anyone else. Who else could you possibly make a unbearable weight of massive talent about, where the joke would be as funny?
Me.
But yeah, overall, very fun movie. Jordan, do you have anything specific you want to say about the unbearable weight of massive talent?
Well, I will say that, we're probably not going to see any sequels or any other ones like this because it had a budget of $30 million and the box office was only $29.1 million.
Oh, bomb. Shame. It's a good movie. I do recall not enough. I was gonna push to watch this in theaters, and then it just didn't happen. Which I regret because it would have been really fun.
What else? Development.
So Cage Cage
plays a fictionalized version of himself who he said bore little resemblance to his real off-screen personality. He originally turned down the role 3 or 4 times, but changed his mind after writer-director Tom Gormican wrote him a personal letter.
Yeah, they had to convince him to do it because he was like, it feels egotistical, which I could see why he would say that.
I could see why you would say that. Movie bears similarities to My Favorite Year. Harris paraphrases Peter O'Toole's character from that movie when he reminds Cage that he's not an actor. He's a movie star. The movie's title alludes to the novel, later made into a film, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, and possibly to a memoir, a heartbreaking work of staggering genius.
Yeah. All right then.
But yeah, that's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Good movie.
Jordan,
silly.
Silly. I really hope you enjoyed getting to do things because you said so. Because Jordan, that ends right now. It's my show again. I control it. I get to decide the topics now.
Would you say that it's because Justin says so?
No, because Jordan, you pick your own movies. I don't pick your movies for you. I don't have the time. Fair. I don't have the time to think of movies to pick for you.
I more meant it's no longer because Jordan says though, because Justin says so.
Because the show says so. The show has become its own independent being, Jordan.
Oh God, it's gained sentience.
Oh God, it's oh God, it's eating me. It's eating me. Look, oh God. Oh God.
No.
I'm disappearing now. Anyway, I mean, I already mentioned it. Next week is obviously Christmas, guys. It's Christmas. Christmas coming up.
Jingle
We have to do. We don't
bells.
love Christmas, but we have to do an SEO friendly Christmas special. That's just how. That's how the
Jingle bells.
algorithm rewards as such. So, my thing is with Christmas movies, try to find. For me, my Christmas selections are going to predominantly be ones that I have not seen. I want to introduce to all of you a bunch of Christmas movies I had not seen, but I think I'm probably going to hit a couple of the classics. Jordan, I've already recommended one for Jordan that he hadn't seen before called A Nativity Story, I believe it's what it's called.
The Taking of Jerusalem.
Oh yeah, that's it. Journey to Bethlehem. That's what it is. With Antonio Banderas. It's better than it has any right to be. We'll be talking about that next week. I'm probably gonna watch Spirited. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna watch Spirited. Maybe we'll talk about Santa with a gun. Santa Does a Die Hard. That was it. Maybe we'll talk about that again. Jordan might hit some Grinch. We might hit some Rankin Bass. Who's to say? We're gonna talk.
We might see Jack Black being Satan.
Satan. That's definitely might be one that we talk about. We might talk about Red One, The Rock, and Chris Evans because I'm probably gonna watch that. And then after the week after that, it is New Year's, and with New Year's it comes our end of the year special, where we are going to talk about movies we haven't seen that we missed this year, and yeah, maybe we'll rewatch some stuff, the best stuff of the year. Maybe we might watch the worst stuff. Certainly, one or both of us is going to watch Venom 3. We're going to talk about Venom 3 finally.
Let there be carnage.
And next week, I forgot to mention, next week is the Christmas special, but also because Jim Carrey as Gerald Robotnik dresses up as Santa Claus in one of the commercials, we're going to talk about Sonic 3. We're going to do a review for Sonic 3. We're going to watch Sonic 3 next Saturday. Got to be SEO algorithmically friendly. Got to get that SEO.
Even if he hadn't been wearing one, Justin, we would still be watching that goddamn movie.
Yeah. I just cannot commit to an entire Sonic episode. So we're going to tag it onto our Christmas special. So we'll see you guys next week. I'm kind of tempted to play the theme song again to play us out. Let's do it. To play us out. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the theme song.
11 a.m. He feels just right. Justin
Right.
Spurr.
Right. Jordan, I forgot about that. Oh my god! I almost played us out before doing the end of the show plugs. Jordan reminded me. Oh my god! It's because the podcast has gone over 3 hours long. That's when my brain gets kerfuffled. Jordan, where can they find you?
I do Minecraft Monday on Mondays on Twitch. Zetscore 187. I also do the podcast here every weekend.
Don't ask him to give you the tour. You can find me on TikTok. It's not getting banned in Canada, so I'll be there. The show also has its own TikTok. You can email the show if you want to sponsor us or just say hi, make a suggestion. You can join the Discord if you want to go join the Discord. Vote for us in the Arties. If you want to be on the show, I have a handy dandy Google form in the description that you can click, fill out, tell us what topic you want to do. We'll form a show around you. Come hang out with us for a couple hours. Am I missing anyone? No, that's it. rtmedia.org. Now we're gonna play the show out with the theme song.
Vote or die.
Vote or die.
Sunday morning, sun shines bright. 11 a.m. He feels just right. Justin Spurr and Jordan too. They got the talks just for you. Movies old and movies new. Pop culture trends, they pull you through. Got your ear till the end. Feels like talking to a friend. Spur out the morning at 11. Feels like pop culture heaven. Tune in when Sunday arrives. Feel the podcast come alive.
Stop it. See you next week, everyone.